Chapter 2406. He cultivates the path of ghost. Be careful not to be entangled by those vengeful spirits, lest you have nightmares at night. Although it was a reminder, the virtuous son was not too worried. He even teased him a little. Who cares about ghost energy? Even if he's the ghost king, I can still tear him apart today. The evil son snorted coldly. His face was ferocious, and the death scythe in his hand became even more terrifying. It slashed forward with a huge shadow. Ghostly waved the white bone banner and fought with him. On the other side, Hui Dao was fighting against the virtuous son. The two of them were also very fierce. The battle broke out, and it was very terrifying. Everyone around watched the battle and discussed animatedly. However, not long after, Ghostly and Hui Dao were pushed back again. This time, blood flowed from the corners of their mouths. You too can't do it. Ask the powerhouses on the big ship to come down. Otherwise, don't blame me for killing all of you. The evil son's voice was cold. The others felt their scalps go numb. The twin kings were too terrifying. Even the saints and saintesses might not be able to defeat them. Damn it! How dare you underestimate us? Hearing that, Hui Dao and Ghostly were instantly furious. The two of them still had trump cards that they had not used. In the next moment, the two of them were about to attack. On the black demon ship, Peacock also snorted coldly and wanted to attack. However, she was stopped by Lin Xian. This guy is a little special. We just arrived, so we can't fight him head-on. We have to use some special methods. Let me do it, Lin Xian said in a deep voice. Then his figure flickered, and he went to the corner below. Whoosh! Soon he arrived in front of Hui Dao and Ghostly, seeing another figure coming down from the black demon ship. Everyone was surprised and began to discuss animatedly. Is Immortal Palace going to send more people? Previously, when they joined forces with Ghost Li to attack the Twin Kings, they did not think much of it. After all, the Twin Kings could be dealt with as two people. However, it was different now that it was 3 against 2. Even if they won, it would be an unfair victory. Besides, these people were all young prodigies and peerless powerhouses. Everyone's heart was filled with pride. They didn't like this kind of fighting style where they outnumbered their opponents. Immortal Palace, how dare they use such despicable tactics? The people from the 5 Elements sect sneered. The martial artists from the 9 Heavens, Holy Ground, also had looks of disdain on their faces. How dare they compare themselves with our holy ground? The difference was too great. Discussions broke out one after another. However, there were few people in the crowd who frowned. He didn't even make a sound. This was because they recognized the figure in front of them. Of course, this was only a small number. In the vast sea of martial artists, it was practically negligible. Seeing this scene, the twin kings of Zhongzhou were also stunned. Then, the evil one sneered disdainfully. What? You want to outnumber me? Come on. The 3 of you are not enough. Let's start with 10. I'm going to kill you all today. He was extremely arrogant and did not put the 3 people in front of him in his eyes at all. I'll give you one last chance to live. Kneel down obediently and hand over our things. The virtuous one said in a deep voice. At this moment, his expression was like that of an enlightened monk, his face full of compassion. However, everyone knew that when the benevolent son took action, he was not merciful at all. Everyone thought it would be 3 against 2, but soon they were stunned, because when Hui Dao and Ghostly saw Lin Xian coming down, they respectfully shouted, "Boss! We've just arrived, so we don't have to risk our lives. If you want to fight, there will be plenty of opportunities in the future." Lin Xian said indifferently. Yes. The 2 responded and did not attack again. Seeing this scene, the surrounding people were stunned. What's going on? Isn't it 3 against 2? Also, who is this young man? How can he make 2 young supreme talents so obedient in an instant? For a moment, everyone was speculating about Lin Xian's identity. They were very curious. Could it be that he's another top expert in Immortal Palace? Come on, hurry up and attack. I'm not afraid of you, the evil one said coldly. Okay, I'll play with you. Lin Xian took a step forward, and the aura on his body became fierce. However, Ghost Li and Hu Yidao did not attack. The two of them retreated to the black demon ship. What? He wants to fight one-on-one. Seeing this scene, everyone was stunned. They did not expect that it was not 3 against 2. It was a one-on-one battle. This young man wants to challenge the Twin Kings alone? God, who is he? I'm afraid that even the saints and saintesses would not dare to do this. Boy, who are you? The Twin Kings of Zhongzhou darkened their faces. They felt insulted. No one had ever dared to challenge them alone. I'm their boss. The thing you want is in my hands. As Lin Xian spoke, he stretched out his hand and a half-jade pendant appeared. Seeing this, the twin monarchs were thoroughly enraged. Damn it, you really took our things. Boy, you're dead meat. In your next life, be a sensible person. The benevolent son also looked cold. You want to kill me? Who do you think you are? How dare you kill me? Lin Xian snorted disdainfully. As soon as this voice came out, everyone around was stunned and could not believe their ears. God, what is this boy saying? How can he be so arrogant? Could it be that he doesn't know the Twin Kings? That must be the case. Seeing that this boy is in that immortal palace, his status should not be low, but I didn't expect him to be so arrogant. He doesn't even know the Twin Kings of Zhongzhou. It seems that this so-called immortal palace is really nothing much. When the Twin Kings of Zhongzhou heard this, they were furious. Among them, the evil one said coldly, Boy, listen carefully, I'm the Twin Kings of Zhongzhou. We're invincible in Zhongzhou and are the strongest prodigies of the younger generation. How about it, do you recognize us now? I'll give you one last chance. Kneel down and accept your death, and I'll give you a quick death. Otherwise, you'll taste the pain of being devoured by 100 ghosts. Twin Kings of Zhongzhou? Hearing this, Lin Xian narrowed his eyes. He had heard of this name before. However, he had his own plans. The next moment, he snorted coldly and showed a look of disdain. What Twin Kings of Zhongzhou? In my opinion, you're just a two-headed monster. How dare a thing like you, who is neither human nor ghost, come here and make a fool of yourself? Get lost. What? His words were like a bolt from the blue, causing the surrounding people to feel dizzy. Even the saints and saintesses furrowed their brows. Who is this guy? Isn't he too arrogant? Humph. He doesn't know what's good for him. I thought he was a genius, but I didn't expect him to be an idiot. The saints and saintesses snorted coldly. They did not know Lin Xian, so they made a judgment at that moment. However, there were a few people who did not think so. In the void, a woman's body was covered in light and a chaotic aura hung down. She looked very mysterious. Her eyes flickered as she looked ahead and smiled bitterly. This guy is still so arrogant. Chapter 2407. On another mountain peak, a beautiful woman in purple also had a trace of a smile in her eyes. Beside her, a few young women said, Saintess, do you really not need us to do anything? A black-haired woman beside them also shook her head with a helpless expression. Junior sister, I really don't understand. Why do you like him? This kid is so arrogant. Who knows when he will be slapped to death? In the sky, 9 flood dragons were circling, and there were chariots behind them. At this moment, the young geniuses of the Yi family who were standing in the chariots were also discussing. When they saw this scene, they also frowned. It was said that Immortal Palace was a very low-key and mysterious organization. The people in such an organization should be elites. They did not expect that such an idiot would appear, and it seemed that his status was not low either. What was going on? Could it be that he was not from Immortal Palace? A middle-aged man frowned. The other young disciples also sneered. How dare he provoke the Twin Kings like this? he would probably end up miserably. That might not be the case. At this moment, an opposing voice was heard. Hearing this voice, everyone turned around. When they saw the chariot, they secretly swallowed their saliva. That was because the person who spoke was the Yi family saintess. However, what made them puzzled was why their saintess would say such a thing. Could it be that the two of them knew each other? Oh, how did they know? At this moment, the elders of the Yi family were also very puzzled. The Yi family's saintess did not explain anything. Instead, he said with a smile, "Elders, you will know soon enough. What I said is definitely not wrong." Hearing the saintess's words, the elders were also interested. One had to know that the saintess was a very proud person. Moreover, his strength and talent were terrifying. If nothing unexpected happened, his future achievements could be said to be shocking. He could even be on par with the great emperor. Therefore, the elders were very curious about the person who was favored by him. They wanted to know what kind of abilities the other party had. Meanwhile, the people around them went crazy. They could not believe their ears at all. What was that kid saying? How dare he say that the twin kings were monsters? Oh heavens, he was simply courting death. Just watch, he would be torn to pieces soon. Everyone sneered. That was because they knew that the twin kings of Zhongzhou hated it when others called them monsters. Sure enough, when the Gemini king heard this, his face immediately twisted. The evil child roared, demonic clouds rolling around his body. The virtuous child's face also sank. His face was no longer full of benevolence. Instead, it was replaced with coldness. To make the virtuous one show such an expression, one could imagine how monstrous the killing intent in the hearts of the twin kings was. "Brett, you're dead." "How dare you call us brothers monsters? I will let you know the feeling of living a life worse than death. You will be judged by the heavenly Tao and fall into the 18 levels of hell." The virtuous son's voice was also extremely cold. Behind them, Ghost Li Hui Dao and the people on the Black Demon ship also paled. They could not understand what the Hall Master was doing. Why did he deliberately provoke the other party? Lin Xian sneered in his heart. Angered? That's great. He could proceed with his plan. In his opinion, the other party was powerful and stood at the peak of the younger generation. However, there were also fatal flaws. That was psychological distortion. Under normal circumstances, this kind of dark mentality would not cause any problems. However, under his heavenly secret, godly eyes, nothing could hide. It would take him no effort to destroy the other party. Boom! In the sky, the death scythe turned into a terrifying light shadow. It fell from the sky and directly cut the void in half. Whoosh! Lin Xian's figure flashed and instantly dodged the terrifying light shadow. However, in the next moment, a golden will appeared above his head and pressed down like a golden mountain. Boom! 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 The void shattered as if it was directly obliterated. The terrifying energy enveloped Lin Xian. How terrifying! It seemed that the twin kings were really angry. Yes, the power of this technique was much stronger than before. That brat was definitely dead. Seeing this scene, the surrounding experts all began to discuss. However, in the next moment, their pupils suddenly shrank, because they found that the heavenly treasure wheel had missed and did not hurt the other party. That brat was so fast. No wonder he dared to compete with the twin kings. It turned out that he had such an extreme speed technique. So what? Speed alone was not enough to compete with the twin kings. Just wait and see. He would soon regret it. The twin kings looked at this scene and sneered. So that's how it is. You're relying on speed. However, this bit of movement technique of yours is nothing in front of me. The evil one sneered. The virtuous one's eyes flickered. Like a Buddha, his body shone with boundless light. That's enough. A golden rune appeared in Lin Xian's eyes. An illusion attack was instantly launched. That was the heavenly secret, godly eyes, and it was launched so suddenly. Therefore, the twin kings did not have time to react and were hit by the illusion. Lin Xian did not use floating light to pull their souls into a strange space. Instead, he used a more low-key illusion that no one would notice. He did not plan to do it himself. He wanted to let the two brothers kill each other. What twin kings of middle ground? You're just a two-headed monster. You're just a little stronger than the others. However, that still doesn't change your identity as monsters. Ah, damn brat, I'm going to kill you. I'll definitely tear you into pieces. The evil one roared crazily. The demonic chi in his body surged and instantly formed a huge black vortex in the sky. Countless black lightning bolts pierced through the void and enveloped the space where Lin Xian was. Buzz! Lin Xian's demigods and semidevils was extremely fast and dodged in an instant. Do you think you can escape? The virtuous one's low voice sounded. Save all living beings. Golden light shone in the sky, forming a golden cage that completely sealed the entire space. It was also mercilessly squeezing. It wanted to completely crush Lin Xian. This method was extremely terrifying. There was nowhere to dodge. Lin Xian's dragon, sword domain, instantly appeared and turned into a defense to resist. For a moment, a sonorous sound rang out. The golden light in Lin Xian's eyes became even more mysterious. The next moment, he continued to speak coldly. Save all living beings? You can't even save yourself, and you want to save others? What a joke! However, I have a way for you to save yourself. Kill that black monster, and you can monopolize the entire body. Of course, black monster, you can also do the same. Kill this golden-haired guy. This entire body will be yours. From now on, no one will say that you're a monster. What? Hearing this, everyone was stunned and the corners of their mouths twitched. However, many people sneered, sowing discord. Chapter 2408. They originally thought that he had some powerful methods, but they did not expect him to sow discord. Who did he think he was? He was not the first person to use such a method, nor would he be the last. However, no one had ever succeeded. Central Continent's twin kings were peerless geniuses. Regardless of whether it was their temperament, will, or talent, they were all top-notch. How could a mere provocation make the two brothers turn against each other? Was that the genius of Immortal Palace? How laughable! What Immortal Palace? It was just trash. Sneers could be heard one after another. The elders of the Yi family also frowned. Indeed, what was the use of sowing discord? However, their holy physique was full of confidence because he knew that the other party must have his reasons for doing so. Sure enough, Central Continent's twin kings were also stunned when they heard that. Then they revealed disdain. A mere attempt to drive a wedge between the two of them was enough to turn the two brothers against each other? What a joke! However, they soon frowned, especially the evil one, whose face was full of malevolence. That was because a mysterious rune appeared in Lin Xian's left eye. He quickly constructed an illusory space and guided the evil one's soul into it. Previously, he had already used an illusory technique as a foundation, so the evil one did not realize that he had been pulled into a fantasy world. He felt as if a voice had sounded from the bottom of his heart. Then a scene appeared in his mind. It was a scene of only one head. He occupied the entire body, invincible and respected by the world. No one would call him a monster anymore. He would reach the peak of martial arts. This kind of scene was what he had been dreaming of since he was a child. However, the reality of the past few years made him realize that he and his older brother could only coexist. It was impossible to kill him. However, for some reason, the dream that he had when he was young appeared again, and it was becoming more and more intense. In fact, it was not only the evil one. The good one was also slowly being guided to have such thoughts. At that moment, the evil one spoke. "Brother, I think what he said is reasonable. Why don't you die? Return this body to me." The good one snorted coldly. "I am the true owner of this body. You were just added later. Now I want to return myself." What? Hearing that, everyone was dumbfounded. They did not dare to believe it. Their minds went blank. What was going on? Did the twin kings of Central State really turn against each other? Heavens, what kind of joke is this? If it was so easy to sow discord, how could the twin kings of the Central State live until today? Most likely, he would be killed the moment he debuted, right? Obviously, ordinary sowing discord was impossible. Damn it, what did this brat do? To think that the twin kings of the Central State would turn against each other. For a moment, everyone was shocked. However, the situation ahead had changed greatly. The evil kid's expression was ice cold. His face was sinister like a demon king. "Since you are not willing, then don't blame me for being impolite." As he spoke, the death scythe in his hand slashed towards the virtuous one's head. What he wanted was the body, so he only wanted to get rid of the virtuous one's head. The virtuous one had the same idea. The celestial treasure in his hand smashed towards the evil one's head. In an instant, the two of them attacked, and the sound of intense collisions rang out. Half of the black demonic chi in the sky clashed with the other half of the golden light in the sky. This scene was not at all inferior to the confrontation between the two saints. Everyone's face was full of shock. This made them even more confused and frightened of Lin Xian. What kind of method did he use? Among them, the people from the 9 heavens, holy ground, and 5 elements sect looked gloomy. It was as if they had eaten a dead rat, because they had mocked the other party before, thinking that he was an idiot and would never succeed. But now they were slapped in the face. The other party made the twin kings of the Central State fight with just a few words. This method was heaven-defying. The other people who mocked him also felt their faces burning as if they had been slapped in the face. Now, they did not dare to speak carelessly because the young man in front of them was too mysterious. Not only them, the saints, saintesses, and the older generation experts were also staring ahead with flickering eyes. No way, how did this guy do it? The 9 dragons pulled the chariot. On the Yi family's side, the disciples of the Yi family were also puzzled. An old man said in a deep voice, "If he guessed correctly, it should be an illusion." The twin kings fell for the other party's illusion. "Wu Dao, this friend of yours is not simple." Illusion? No wonder. After the other Yi family disciples heard this, they also understood. It must be a very high-level illusion that directly affected the twin kings of the Central State. After hearing this, Yi Wudao's eyes flickered. He had already guessed this result, but he did not expect the other party's illusion to be so terrifying. The saints and saintesses also guessed this situation. So for a while, they became more vigilant of Lin Xian in their hearts. They even put on soul defense treasures and jade pendants. After all, no one knew when they would fight with the other party, so it was better to be prepared in advance. How did this guy do it? On another mountain peak, a woman looked stunned. The woman in purple next to her smiled. "Senior sister, I told you not to worry about him. Ching-Ching, I feel that he is so strange. I can't believe he subdued the twin kings so easily." The one who asked this question was none other than Zhao Zhuo. The woman in purple next to her was Morong Ching-Ching. Behind them were the people of Jade Lake. The others, like the saintess of all beginnings, were also surprised. However, the saint son of Thousand Thunder, the Toba family, and the saint son of all beginnings looked gloomy, because they recognized the other party. Damn it, it's that kid. Not only them, but the people of the Tai dynasty were also here. At this moment, they also noticed the other party, and immediately gnashed their teeth in anger. That kid is not dead yet? And he joined the Immortal Palace? No matter where he joined, this is his death date. He dared to kill General Xianing. He has committed an incomparably heinous crime. Go and inform Zhan Wuhan that the kid has come out again. I don't believe that the war tribe will spare him. They were the people of the Tai dynasty's eldest prince. This time many princes came. Among them, the eldest prince and the 3rd prince came. However, the 8th prince did not come. He was now the crown prince and was supervising the country in the palace, so naturally he could not come here. In the sky, Lin Xian stood with his hands behind his back, looking very calm. On the other side, there was a fierce battle. The twin kings of the central state had completely fallen into madness. The violent battle shocked everyone. Soon, the twin kings of the central state retreated while fighting and went far away. Along the way, everyone who saw them made way for them and did not dare to get close. After the twin kings of the central state left, everyone was still shocked and could not believe it. The terrifying twin kings were sent away just like that. Chapter 2409. The incomparably terrifying twin kings were sent away just like that. It was really unexpected. For a time, everyone's eyes were on Lin Xian. Let's go. In the distance, Murong Qingqing's figure flashed and flew towards Lin Xian. Behind her, Zhao Zhihua and the young geniuses of the Jade Lake Sacred Ground quickly followed. Brother Xian. A delicate cry attracted Wanda's attention. So beautiful. Who is that woman? She is the saintess of the Jade Lake Sacred Ground. Why is she here? Does she know this young man in front of her? Everyone was puzzled. After all, not many people knew about the relationship between Lin Xian and Murong Qingqing. But from now on, the world would know. Qingqing. Seeing Murong Qingqing fly over, Lin Xian smiled. In this kind of situation, although Murong Qingqing didn't jump into Lin Xian's arms, judging from the two's expressions, everyone could already guess what was going on. Heavens! The relationship between these two is too close. He actually dared to hold the hand of the Jade Lake Saintess? No. My goddess! Damn it, I must duel with him. Exclamations and screams sounded. They didn't expect the two to have such a deep relationship. It was hard for them to believe, because that was the Jade Lake Saintess. She was the goddess of heaven in the hearts of countless people. But now she was taken. How could they bear it? However, this was only the beginning. What shocked them was yet to come. In the distance, another hazy figure floated over. Surrounded by a terrifying chaotic light, it quickly walked through the air. Lin Gongzi, we meet again. This is someone from the All Beginnings, Sacred Ground. Looking at this chaotic aura, could it be the Saintess of All Beginnings? Heavens! Don't tell me that the Saintess of All Beginnings is also having an affair with this kid. Everyone was about to explode. When the Saintess of All Beginnings heard this, she almost fell from the sky. What do you mean by having an affair? Her face darkened. She coldly snorted and swept her cold gaze below. Suddenly, a terrifying force surged downwards. The people below shrank their necks and didn't dare to speak anymore. Long time no see. Lin Xian looked at him and greeted him with a smile. Everyone below was extremely shocked. Heaven, they actually knew each other. Who was this kid? However, this was not the end. After that, a figure walked out of the chariot behind the 9 dragons. Suddenly, the world shook as if it was about to split apart. What a terrifying power! Everyone was shocked as they looked into the distance. Then, their pupils constricted. Some people even cried out in surprise. That seemed to be the Yi family's holy body. What? Holy body? That was an extremely terrifying existence. Perhaps not many people could suppress him. As expected, the Saint of All Beginnings, the Saint of All Beginnings, the Saint of Dian, and the other saints and saintesses all felt the pressure as soon as the saint body of the Yi family appeared. The Alcade Saint also focused his gaze, forming 2 divine lamps. The halo around him became even brighter. Boom! In the next moment, it exploded with a loud bang, forming streaks of shocking light. A mysterious voice sounded between heaven and earth. What a terrifying aura! The Alcade Saint is too terrifying. Everyone was shocked. Up in the sky, Leaf Daudenier felt a powerful battle intent. He looked down at the Alcade Saint and was shocked. Unfathomable. That was his evaluation of the other party. However, he didn't come to fight with the other party. He came to see Lin Xian. Brother Lin, long time no see. Leaf Dao Denier walked over with a smile. Lin Xian also smiled and cupped his hands. Brother Yi, I didn't expect you to come too. What? This kid even knows the Yi family's holy body? And it seems that their relationship is so good. Everyone's heads were about to split open. The other saints and saintesses were also shocked. Not to mention them, even the people on the black demon ship were stunned. They didn't expect Lin Xian to know so many saints and saintesses. He even knew the Yi family's holy body. It really surprised them. In the sky, in addition to Lin Xian Murong Qingqing, the saintess of all beginnings, and Leaf Dao Denier also greeted each other. They even chatted with each other. This scene naturally attracted the attention of everyone. For a time, many figures rushed over from afar. These people should have rushed over from the distant ruins. Or maybe they had just arrived. In short, they all gathered here. Even the people of the 9 heavens, sacred ground below exclaimed because they found that their saint had returned. The 9 heavens saint was wearing a battle suit. His face was cold, and he exuded a powerful aura like a sharp sword. After he landed and learned what had happened, his face suddenly darkened. The next moment he looked up at the sky, and a touch of coldness appeared in his eyes. However, when he saw the other figures in the sky, he frowned. Especially when he saw the holy body, his pupils shrank. Why is Leaf Dao Denier here? On the other side, the people of the 5 Elements sect also exclaimed, Elder, you're here. Their holy son hadn't arrived yet, but their elders were already here. Therefore, the martial artists of the 5 Elements sect seemed to have found a pillar of support, and they all recounted what had happened before. After the elders heard, they were furious. Who dared to be so bold? Do they have a death wish? How dare they attack the 5 Elements palace? However, when they saw the scene in the sky, they were also shocked. For a time, they didn't immediately attack. However, on the other side, the 9 heavens saint's figure flickered, and he flew directly into the sky. Soon, he arrived near Lin Xian and the others. Whoosh! Lin Xian turned his head and looked. Murong Qingqing, the saint of all beginnings, and Leaf Dao Denier also looked at him. For a moment, the space around the 9 heavens saint condensed, and he was under great pressure. However, in the next moment, he snorted coldly, and a majestic force surged out of his body, instantly dissolving the pressure. What do you want? Lin Xian looked at him and said coldly. He naturally knew that the other party was the 9 heavens saint, and he must have come here for no good reason. Kid, you mercilessly killed the people of the 9 heavens, sacred ground. You have to give us an explanation. Do you really think that the 9 heavens, sacred ground is easy to bully? The 9 heavens saint said, coldly. Although the other party had a few friends of the saints and saintesses, and even knew Leaf Dao Denier. But so what? He was also a saint, and he didn't think that he was afraid of the other party. What's more, what happened just now happened in front of everyone. He had to give the other party an explanation. Otherwise, how could the 9 heavens, sacred ground survive in the future? 9 heavens saint, it seems that you haven't figured things out. Why don't you ask your subordinates? Who started the fight first? Who insulted the people first? Do you think that with our status, we can tolerate being insulted in public? If you received merciless ridicule as soon as you arrived, what would you do? The one who spoke was naturally Murong Qingqing. She said coldly, So this matter is the fault of the 9 heavens, sacred ground. I'm already giving you face by not asking you to apologize. Chapter 24:10. You, hearing that, the saint of 9 firmament was so angry that he vomited blood. However, the opponent was the saint of Jade Lake. Her strength was terrifying. He did not want to fight with her. In the next moment, he stared at Lin Xian and said coldly, Brat, how about it? Do you dare to deal with it alone? Don't stand behind a woman if you dare. Deal with it alone? How do you want to deal with it? Lin Xian asked calmly. He looked extremely calm. He did not take the Saint of Nine Firmament seriously. Simple. A life for a life. Tell your men to kill themselves, and this matter will be over. Hearing that, the martial artists below were in an uproar. The people of Nine Firmament, Sacred Ground, and Five Elements Palace sneered. Behind them, Ghost Li and Hu Dao were infuriated. How dare he ask them to kill themselves? He must be tired of living. In the next moment, the two of them snorted, and a terrifying aura surged from their bodies again. Boss, leave this to us. We can deal with it ourselves. Hu Dao said quickly. Ghostly also snorted, and a ghostly aura emanated from his body. Lin Xian waved his hand to stop the two of them. He looked at the Saint of Nine Firmament again. A life for a life? Are you sure? What's there to be uncertain about? The Saint of Nine Firmament snorted. He had to kill those two today. Otherwise, everyone would think that the Nine Firmament Sacred Ground was a pushover. Okay, that's what you said. Lin Xian smiled coldly, and then he quickly shouted, Ruzalong. Got it. On the Black Demon ship, Ruzalong also smiled. Not only did Lin Xian call him, but he also sent him a voice transmission to tell him the plan. In the next moment, the dragon aura on the Crimson Dragon surged, and it transformed into a person. This was a body of pure energy. It was illusory, but it looked exactly like a real person. If one did not look carefully, one would not be able to tell. After that, the Crimson Dragon waved its claws, and the young man in red flew forward quickly. Soon he was near Lin Xian. Seeing another person disembark from the black demonic ship, the surrounding cultivators discussed animatedly, their faces filled with doubt. Even Murong Qingcheng, Leaf Daodenier, the Holy Maiden of all beginnings, and the others were puzzled. Hu Dao and the other man were even more stunned. The Saint of the Nine Firmaments said coldly after being stunned for a moment. What? You want your trash to die in place of those two? That won't do. Whoever killed him would have to commit suicide to atone for their crimes. All right, whoever killed him will have to commit suicide to atone for their crimes. That's what I like about you. Lin Xian's smile deepened. Just as Lin Xian finished speaking, the eyes of the red-clothed young man nearby flashed with a cold light. Then he lifted his hand and pointed to the front. What's going on? Do you want to fight? Seeing this scene, the surrounding people were stunned. Even Hu Dao and Ghostly were stunned. Who was this young man? Why hadn't they seen him before? They didn't know that it was formed by Dragon Qi, let alone the Nine Firmament Saint. He thought that the other party was going to attack, so his aura surged and he was about to attack. But in the next moment he was stunned, because the red-clothed young man didn't attack. Instead, he pointed at him and spoke. You're the Nine Firmament Saint? You're nothing. How dare a piece of trash like you behave so atrociously in front of the Immortal Palace? The Nine Firmament Sacred Ground is nothing in our eyes. If you dare to be presumptuous again, believe it or not, I'll slap you to death. What? Hearing this, everyone was stunned. Even Hu Dao and Ghostly were stunned. On the other hand, Murong Qingcheng and the Holy Maiden of all beginnings twitched their mouths. Leaf Daodenier's eyes flickered, because he had figured out what Lin Xian was going to do. However, the Nine Firmament Saint didn't understand. He was so angry that his whole body trembled. What's going on? How dare someone point at his nose and scold him? Does he want to die? Damn it, you're courting death. The Nine Firmament Saint took a step forward. His aura suddenly burst out, and a terrifying phantom appeared behind him. A huge pressure pressed down on the front. However, the red-clothed young man didn't react at all because he was condensed by Dragon Qi and could ignore any pressure, unless the other party attacked. However, if the other party attacked, he would have a bigger surprise waiting for him. After ignoring the pressure, the red-clothed young man continued to scold. I advise you to get lost quickly and don't make a fool of yourself in front of me. By the way, Don't call yourself the 9 Firmament Saint. Just call yourself Little Gigi and be our little brother. What do you think? I think your talent is not bad. Why don't you be my little brother? In 2 years, I'll take you to be promoted and rich." The more the red-clothed young man spoke, the more arrogant he became. Everyone's scalp went numb, and they were terrified. Who is this? Are the people of the Immortal Palace all so arrogant? First, it was Lin Xian who scolded the twin kings of Zhongzhou State as monsters. Now, someone dared to point at the 9 Firmament Saints' nose and scold him, and even wanted to take him as a little brother. This made them feel dizzy. Ah, this is too much. The 9 Firmament Saint was really angry. Ordinary sky prides could not take it, let alone him. Therefore, in the next moment, 2 sharp rays of light shot out from his eyes. They were like heavenly blades that cut through the void and struck forward. Boom! The red-clothed young man did not defend at all. He did not dodge and was directly hit by the 2 rays of light. Then he exploded and turned into a cloud of snow. He was killed. The surrounding people were shocked. Below, the people of the 5 Elements Palace and 9 Firmament Sacred Ground sneered. Especially the 9 Firmament Sacred Ground. They were cheering happily. This is great. This brat is so arrogant. How dare he insult the 9 Firmament Sacred Ground? He's dead for sure now. That's right. Let him know the power of the 9 Firmament Sacred Ground. On the Black Demon ship, the people of the Immortal Palace were also stunned. What kind of show was this? They did not understand. They asked the Crimson Dragon. The Crimson Dragon said, "Just wait. The show is about to start." Clap, clap, clap. In the sky, Lin Xian clapped his hands and then gave a thumbs up. The 9 Firmament Saint was indeed powerful. Even his gaze could kill. You're just a piece of trash. You can't even block one of my attacks. The 9 Firmament Saint snorted. Brat, don't play tricks. It's time to talk about our business. Indeed, it's our business. Lin Xian retracted his palm. His eyes were extremely cold. 9 Firmament Saint, how dare you? How dare you kill the people of the Immortal Palace in front of everyone? Do you really think that the Immortal Palace is easy to bully? This voice was like thunder, piercing through the void. In addition, it came out of the blue, so it gave everyone a fright. Everyone trembled and looked up at the sky. Lin Xian continued, "Earlier, you were the one who said in front of everyone that a life for a life. Now that you've killed the martial artists of the Immortal Palace, you should kill yourself to atone for your sins." What? As soon as these words came out, everyone was stunned. They were extremely shocked. They did not expect that the other party was waiting for the 9 Firmament Saint here. The people of the 9 Firmament Sacred Ground were pale. Damn brat! How dare you set us up? They were crazy. They were really crazy. They did not expect the other party to set such a big trap for them to jump into. Chapter 24:11. The 9th Firmament Saint Sun's face also became extremely ugly. Now he naturally understood what the other party meant. Damn it, I was fooled. So that's how it is. Murong Qingqing and the saintess of all beginnings understood and immediately smiled. The corners of Yi Wudao's mouth curled up. He had already guessed this plan. In the rear, Ghostly and Hu Yidao were also surprised. However, they still didn't know that the person who was killed was a fake. It was simply a mass of energy. Fortunately, Peacock was on the Black Demon ship and quickly transmitted her voice. Soon, Ghostly and Yidao's eyes lit up. The Temple Master was really a good strategist. Without the slightest effort, without even sacrificing a single person, they were able to counterattack. Now, the unlucky one was not them, but the 9th Firmament Saint Sun. They wanted to see what the 9th Firmament Saint Sun could do. On the Black Demon ship, the martial artists of Immortal Palace also clapped their hands happily, their faces full of excitement. The Crimson Dragon snorted proudly. You dare to fight with us? Let's kill you. Damn boy, how dare you frame me? The ninth firmament saint's son roared. Of course, he now knew that he had been fooled, so he was extremely angry. However, on the other side, Lin Xian sneered in his heart. Frame you? Humph! If I don't slap your face swollen today, my surname is not Lin. So the next moment, Lin Xian sneered. What? You just said it and now you don't admit it? Who said in front of the world that the murderer must pay with his life? Who said in front of the world that no one can replace you and that you must punish the murderer for his crime? It's only been a minute, and you've forgotten what you said. Are you a pig? You, the ninth firmament saint's son, was so angry that he vomited blood. His lungs were about to explode. How dare the other party scold him? He couldn't bear it. Damn it! You deliberately provoked me. Of course, I have a reason to kill you. Really? You deliberately provoked me. So I have a reason to kill you? Well then, we just came here and didn't provoke anyone. We didn't say anything, but you people from the ninth firmament, holy land, scolded us. Is that deliberate provocation? Since you guys from the nine heavens, holy ground, are deliberately provoking me, why can't I just kill all of you? It's over. Hearing this, everyone shook their heads and sighed. The ninth firmament saint had completely messed up their plan for revenge. Now that the nine firmament saint had fallen into the other party's trap, there was no way he could turn the situation around. No matter what he said, he would be slapped in the face. The people of the nine heavens, holy ground, were even more enraged. Each of them bared their fangs and brandished their claws. They could not wait to rush up and fight with the other party. You, the saint of the nine firmament, was so angry that he vomited blood again. He had never thought that the words he had said before would be used by the other party, and his face would be slapped swollen. What was he supposed to do? Since your nine heavens holy ground is deliberately looking for trouble, then you deserve to be killed. What right do you have to seek revenge from me? Lin Xian's sonorous voice shook the nine heavens. Nine firmament saint's son, you should scram. We don't welcome you here. Murong Qingqing and the saintess of all beginnings laughed. On the black demon ship, everyone cheered. At this moment, everyone was stunned. Who would have thought that Immortal Palace's crisis would be easily resolved like this? Those saints and saintesses also stared at Lin Xian with flickering eyes. It seemed that the other party was not only powerful but also resourceful. It could be said that he was a very terrifying opponent. However, the saint of the nine firmament was obviously mad. He had never been so humiliated in front of everyone. So the next moment he roared, "Boy, I don't care what you say. Today those two people must die." "Is that so? What's the reason?" Seeing the murderous look on the other party's face, Lin Xian did not care at all. Instead, he asked with a sneer, "I don't need a reason to kill." The saint of the nine firmaments' voice was cold. He strode over like a killing god. Lin Xian sneered disdainfully, "You don't need a reason? If you don't need a reason, why did you say so much before? It seems that you are not only an idiot, but also a shameless and hypocritical person. The nine firmament, holy ground, actually chose someone like you to be the saint. I wonder if your elders have water in their heads? Or is the nine firmament, holy ground, a despicable and shameless gathering place? Everyone there is despicable. It's just that you are even more despicable and shameless. That's why you became the saint." This set of face slaps could be said to have slapped the saint of the nine firmament so hard that he could not fight back at all. At this moment, except for the people of Five Elements Palace and Nine Firmament Holy Ground, the people of the other forces all laughed. They looked like they were watching a show. Aya, the Nine Firmament Holy Ground, is in trouble this time. Yes, he was in the right at first, but now he has become a shameless and despicable person. The saint of the nine firmaments' face is probably swollen now. That guy from Immortal Palace is really powerful. First, he made the Twin Kings go crazy with just a few words. Now, with just a few words, he made the saint of the 9 firmaments face swollen and even trampled on the 9 firmament holy ground. This method is really powerful. However, not everyone agreed. There were some who sneered. His sharp tongue and a little scheming weren't much at all. In this world, strength is what matters. If he was not strong enough, he would probably be killed on the spot by the saint of the 9 firmament. At that time, face slaps would not be important. Yes, who would care about a dead person? Ah, in the sky, the saint of the 9 firmament roared crazily. The aura in his body was like a wave, sweeping in all directions in an instant, and the whole sky trembled. A terrifying and frightening power surged out. Boy, no matter what you say, you must die today. You have completely angered me. With that, the saint of the 9 firmament shouted coldly, and his big palm directly slapped out. The void shattered. This palm was so fierce that it directly shattered the whole world. The terrible force enveloped Lin Xian. Humph! Yi Wu Dao snorted coldly, and the golden sacred domain in his body protected him. The saint of all beginnings was surrounded by chaotic qi like a goddess. A lotus flower appeared under Murong Qingqing's feet, and the huge petals wrapped around her. Lin Xian's figure changed and disappeared in an instant. Whoosh! He dodged the terrible fist. Boy, no matter how you dodge, you must die today. The saint of the 9 firmaments' murderous aura became even more piercingly cold. His eyes were like lightning, staring at Lin Xian. Lin Xian's face also darkened. Why are you so angry? You want to kill someone just because your face hurts. But do you think you can beat me? I just didn't want to fight with you before, but since you want to die, I will fulfill your wish. The sword qi on Lin Xian's body flashed rapidly and rushed straight into the sky. The terrible aura made everyone tremble. Swordsman, he is a swordsman. Many people exclaimed because it was the first time they had seen Lin Xian fight. Buzz! With a swing of the sword, the terrible light burst out like a comet, and the whole space was split into 2 from the middle. Chapter 24:12. You want to kill me? Who do you think you are? Today, I'll let you know the power of the 9 heavens, sacred ground. The 9 heavens, Saint roared and waved his fist. He was like a supreme god, about to shatter the whole world. Boom! 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 Their attacks collided in the sky, bursting into bright light. Then they each retreated 5,000 meters. Then they quickly attacked again. Everyone was shocked by this scene. He blocked it. He could actually block the saint's attack. God, this kid is too scary. Needless to say, he was also a saint. They didn't expect him to be so strong. Exclamations came one after another. Indeed, when Lin Xian fought with the Twin Kings before, he didn't use any terrible attack at all, and the Twin Kings went crazy. Everyone didn't think that Lin Xian was strong, but now it seemed that was not the case at all. The other party was definitely a saint. Otherwise, it was impossible for him to compete with the 9 heaven saint. The 2 exchanged dozens of blows, and the sky fell, and the earth cracked. Damn it, how could he block it? The 9 heavens saint roared crazily. He didn't expect the other party to be so strong. Humph, I'll take you today. Lin Xian shouted coldly. The aura on his body became even more terrifying. The invisible sword qi rushed quickly, and a golden sword light fell from the sky like a golden wave. It filled the whole space. A trace of golden light came out and scattered around, causing the surrounding mountains to collapse directly. One could imagine how terrifying this sword was. This sword qi was terrifying. Everyone was stunned. It couldn't be helped. The sword of gold was originally an offensive sword qi, and Lin Xian had a heaven-grade treasure in his hand. Coupled with the great dragon sword soul, it could be said that it was extremely terrifying. Not many people could block it. At this moment, even the saint of all beginnings exclaimed, Yi Wudao's eyes flickered, and his expression was solemn. The Alcade saint below, once again, burst out with a terrifying halo. The other saints and saintesses also exclaimed, because this sword was indeed beyond their expectations. Damn it, how could this kid be so strong? The saint of all thunder gritted his teeth, and the people of the Mophead family looked gloomy. The martial artists of the Tai dynasty and the first prince's side were even more shocked. Who would have thought that the other party's strength would actually increase again? He was so strong that they were trembling. Ah, damn it, go to hell! The saint of the 9 firmaments roared madly. He naturally felt the terror of this sword. Therefore, he also unleashed his power without regard for anything else. His black hair fluttered in the wind, and the power in his body burst forth. His palms danced quickly. 9 heavens, divine palm. A terrifying palm blasted out. 9 giant palm imprints appeared in the sky, like 9 ancient demonic mountains. Their auras were overflowing, wanting to suppress everything. Boom! Boom! The 9 giant handprints collided with the golden sword light, producing a shocking sound. The sky collapsed and the earth cracked. Countless bolts of lightning circled the area. The surrounding mountains were instantly shattered into fine powder and vanished into thin air. Not good. This attack is too strong. Hurry up and defend together. An old man roared angrily. Those experts all made their moves. A terrifying light screen flickered as countless experts took action, forming a powerful defense that blocked the aftermath of this energy. In the sky, Morong Qingcheng, the saintess of all beginnings, Yi Wudao, and the others also retreated into the distance. Ghost Li and Hui Dao swayed and came to the black demon ship. The black demon ship shone brightly to resist the attack. At this moment, everyone was watching the battle intently. Boom! 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 The terrible roar was still ringing out, and the golden light was getting fainter and fainter. That's great! Seeing this scene, the martial artists of the 9 firmaments, sacred ground, cheered. It seemed that their bodies had suppressed the other party. However, halfway through their exclamations, for of the 9 giant palms in the sky were directly split apart. The remaining 5 were bitterly holding on, but they were also cut off in an instant. What? The 9 firmaments' divine palm was broken. How could this be? The martial artists of the 9 firmaments, sacred ground, went crazy, and the others also exclaimed. The saint of the 9 firmaments, sacred ground's pupils shrank. His body moved like lightning and instantly retreated. Want to leave? Sword of Earth! Lin Xian snorted coldly and waved his long sword. The earth trembled, and pieces of rock condensed into swords of earth. They protruded from the ground and slashed into the sky. 5 swords of earth surrounded the saint of the 9 firmaments. Whoosh! Lin Xian used the sword of fire again. The horrifying black flame sword slashed down again. 1 sword and the sky shattered. The terrifying sword chi was unimaginable. Ah! The saint of the 9 firmaments, sacred ground, roared. The sun, moon, and stars appeared around him as if they had turned into the universe, resisting the swords of earth and the swords of fire in the sky. This was the 9 heavens. Seeing this scene, many saints exclaimed. They knew that the 9 firmaments, sacred ground, was very terrifying. It was said that there was a kind of superpower called the 9 heavens, which was very terrifying. It seemed that the saint of the 9 firmaments, sacred ground, was using this kind of superpower. Sure enough, there were 3 light shadows around the saint of the 9 firmaments, sacred ground. They superimposed around him, blocking the terrifying attacks. 3 heavens! The saint of the 9 firmaments, sacred ground, used 3 heavens to block all the attacks. Then, a fierce light burst out from his eyes. Kid, you have completely angered me. Today, I will show you the 9 firmaments, sacred ground's superpower. As he spoke, 3 superimposed heavens appeared above him. It was very terrifying. 3 heavens again. At this moment, the saint of the 9 firmaments, sacred ground, displayed 6 heavens, 3 layers of defense, and 3 layers of attack. It was really terrifying. This scene was too terrifying. Could you imagine someone using 3 heavens to fight? The saint of the 9 firmaments, sacred ground, was like this now. He was like a god, waving 3 heavens and pressing down. Such a terrifying attack made everyone's scalp tingle. No one could withstand such a terrifying attack. They would probably have to use super speed to dodge it. This kid is definitely dead. The martial artists of the 9 firmaments, sacred ground, clenched their fists. The saint of the 1,000 thunder, sacred ground, sneered. The people of the Mophead family also looked ferocious. On the Tai dynasty's side, the crown prince's people were even more nervous. It would be best to let the saint of the 9 firmaments, sacred ground, kill the other party. This way, they could save themselves the trouble. In the distance, Yi Wudao's eyes flickered. The 9 heavens, sacred ground, was indeed terrifying. Although the saint of the 9 firmaments, sacred ground, had only displayed 6 heavens. However, it was not something that ordinary superpower could resist. He wondered what kind of superpower Brother Lin would use to resist. It should be no problem. Murong Qingqing was also very nervous. On the Black Demon ship, the people of Immortal Palace were also very serious, because this battle was related to the reputation of Immortal Palace. The Crimson Dragon Quan Man was no longer panting. He knew that Lin Xian's trump card was definitely beyond imagination. Therefore, he would move his dragon claws and say fiercely, "Kid, kill him for me." No, no, no. Xiao Bai stood on the Crimson Dragon, cheering for him. In front, Lin Xian also frowned. This kind of superpower was really terrifying. It was unpredictable. It was as if 3 heavens had descended from the sky. Each of them was very mysterious, carrying the sun, moon, and stars. Chapter 24:13. Swoosh! He did not take it head-on. Instead, he used the demigods and dodged to the distance. The space where he was originally standing was shattered. He had no choice. The power of the 3rd heaven was too terrifying. Let's see how long you can hide. The 9th firmament saint sneered. After displaying the 6th layer of heaven, he became incomparably confident. He looked forward with a murderous look in his eyes. "Kid, I'll let you know the consequences of offending me and the 9th firmament, sacred ground. What Immortal Palace? In my eyes, it's nothing. You can't compare to the 9th firmament, sacred ground. Now you can die." The 9th firmament saint seized an opportunity and used the 3rd heaven to completely seal off the area. This time, Lin Xian could not escape at all. You can't escape. I'll let you know what a true superpower is." Seeing this, the 9th firmament saint's face was extremely ferocious. In the next moment, he formed a seal with his palms. The 3rd heaven quickly pressed down, and the sky was completely shattered. Everyone exclaimed. They knew that Lin Xian would not be able to block it. Lin Xian was also extremely surprised. He realized that the 3rd heaven was indeed terrifying. It was far beyond his imagination. However, he was not afraid. He had just cultivated the 5-element sword. It was just the right time to use it. He swung his sword and swept in all directions. Whoosh! Blue sword light shone. Suddenly, seawater surged around Lin Xian and spread in all directions. More and more, as if it was going to cover the entire sky. This is ocean. No, this is sword chi. Heavens! His sword technique has reached such a level. Many experts below exclaimed. On the Black Demon ship, the elders of the Immortal Palace also looked solemn. This seemed to be the sword of water of the 5-element sword. In such a short time, the palace master could cultivate to such a level. His talent was too heaven-defying. That's right, this was indeed the sword of water. The terrifying heaven sword technique, combined with the great dragon sword soul, was unparalleled. There seemed to be thousands of beasts galloping in the sky, making rumbling sounds. This was the sound of the seawater colliding with the third heaven. The seawater continued to gush out, enveloping Lin Xian and spreading in all directions, resisting the terrifying third layer of heaven. The 3 layers of heaven were extremely terrifying. They formed a triangle and resembled 3 heavenly blades as they slashed towards Lin Xian. However, at this moment, when they encountered the seawater, they encountered great resistance. They cut through the seawater, but they were surrounded by seawater instead. For a moment, there was a stalemate in the air. In the end, the speed of the 3 heavens became slower and slower. Finally, they came to a complete stop, surrounded by the endless sea water. It was blocked. He actually managed to block it. At that moment, the holy sons and holy daughters cried out in surprise. They didn't expect that the terrifying third heaven would be blocked by the sea water. Seeing this, Lin Xian's lips curled into a smile. It seemed that the sword of water was indeed powerful. It contained an incomparably soft power that could dissolve everything. Damn it, how is this possible? When the people of 9 heavens, holy ground, saw this, their eyes nearly popped out of their sockets. This was a great divine ability of their holy land. Yet it was so easily broken by the other party. On the other side, the 5 elements palace snorted. What's the use of blocking it? He can't fight back anyway. In the end, he would still be killed by the 9 heavens saint. Yes, that's right. He can only protect himself. Compared to our bodies, he's too weak. The people of 9 heavens, holy ground, gritted their teeth. However, they soon realized that they were wrong. They were wrong. In the sky, the 9 heavens saint's face darkened when he saw that his attack had been blocked. However, he soon increased the intensity of his attack. Kid, I don't believe that you can last forever. As long as I cut through your seawater. Let's see what you have to resist. The 9 heavens saint's voice was cold, and the light on his body became even brighter. Lin Xian was surrounded by the endless sea water, but the corners of his lips curled up into a smile. In the next moment, he swung his sword again and slashed out. Whoosh! The sea water rippled, and an invisible force spread out. However, it didn't have any effect. This scene stunned the 9 heavens saint. Then he laughed out loud. Is this your attack? It seems that you don't have much strength left to fight back. If that's the case, go to hell. Speaking of this, the 3rd heaven in front of him launched another fierce attack. The seawater in the sky surged, making splashing sounds, as if the Milky Way was pouring down from the 9th heaven. However, while he was attacking, the 3rd heaven beside the 9 heavens saint changed. Suddenly, countless green lights appeared in the 3rd heaven, and then turned into trees and vines, spreading out in all directions. Soon, a forest was formed and spread to the other 2 heavens. What's going on? What's this? Why is there a forest growing in the 3rd heaven? Shouldn't it be in the starry sky? The martial artists watching the battle were all stunned. They knew that the 9th heaven's grand superpower was a kind of superpower that simulated the starry sky and the universe. It was extremely terrifying, but now there was a forest growing in it. They couldn't believe it. The people of 9 heavens, holy ground, screamed, and the 9 heavens saints' pupils shrank. Damn it, what's going on? He was more frightened than these people, because he realized that these trees were absorbing the power of the 3rd heaven. The light of the 3rd heaven became dimmer and dimmer. The power in his body was also rapidly depleting. Damn it, it's the other party's cultivation technique. Seeing this, the 9 heavens saint roared, Destroy! The 3rd heaven beside him exploded with endless light, cutting off all the forest. However, the broken forest trees grew again, turning into towering trees, crazily absorbing the energy. In an instant, the space around the 9 heavens saint was completely surrounded by the forest. It's the kid's superpower. At this moment, everyone understood what was going on, and they all cried out in surprise. The other saints and saintesses also exclaimed. The people of Five Elements Palace looked even worse. Is this the power of wood? This kid can already use the power of the five elements. Could he be a martial artist of the five elements? This stunned them, because the Five Elements Palace cultivated the superpower of the five elements. They didn't expect the other party to know a similar superpower of the Five Elements Palace. Damn it, our saint isn't here. Otherwise, we would definitely be able to restrain him. In terms of superpower of the five elements, our Five Elements saint is definitely the best. Damn it, if it weren't for the fact that there were so many people, our elders would have taken action. We would have killed him with one slap. These people gritted their teeth, but the people around them exclaimed. The Nine Heavens saint was even more furious. He naturally also realized that this was the power of wood. So in the next moment he snorted coldly and waved his hand. Flames rushed out of his body and swept in all directions. They formed a flaming divine eagle. Humph! How long can you last under my flames? The Nine Heavens saint snorted coldly. Chapter 24:14. As expected, when the rain of the forest met the fire, it burned fiercely, and the sky was dyed red by the fire. When the green trees turned into ashes, the flaming godly eagle also disappeared. Seeing this, the Ninth Firmament saint laughed loudly. Did you see that? Your attack is nothing in front of me. Is that so? The corners of Lin Xian's mouth curled up into a cold smile, and his eyes were filled with mockery. Damn it, what's with that expression? The Ninth Firmament saint's face darkened when he saw Lin Xian's mockery. In the next moment, his pupils constricted, because he felt that the trees that had turned into ashes around him were once again fluctuating with a green light. Then they quickly turned into towering trees, and the vines grew again. My power of wood is endless. You're underestimating it too much. Now go to hell for me. At this point, Lin Xian shouted coldly and increased his strength. As expected, the trees grew crazily. Countless trees grew from a few meters to a few hundred meters, a few thousand meters, and even 10,000 meters. It was a terrifying scene. It was as if a forest had appeared in the sky. Moreover, it was still growing. Of course, the energy needed for this growth was collected from the third heaven. Therefore, the third heaven around the Ninth Firmament saint became extremely dim. What was even more terrifying was that the Ninth Firmament saint felt the energy in his body rapidly draining away. Ah, damn it! He roared and removed the third heaven around him to prevent the energy from draining away. Boom! A set of battle armor appeared on his body, and it supported his defense. He did not believe that these trees could still grow on his body. A flaming battle armor appeared on the Ninth Firmament saint's body. It burned fiercely and blocked all the trees that rushed over. Seeing that the wood energy was suppressed, the Ninth Firmament saint heaved a sigh of relief. In the next moment, he turned his head and stared ahead again. His body swayed, and he rushed over. At the same time, the third heaven in front of him was like a heavenly sword, mercilessly cutting the sea water apart. That's great. The Ninth Firmament saint was going to fight back. The people of Five Elements Palace and Nine Firmament sacred ground cheered below. But at this moment, everyone exclaimed again, because in the sky, among the countless forests, a golden light suddenly appeared. Boom! A golden sword suddenly flew out like a golden lightning bolt. It streaked across the sky and crashed into the Ninth Firmament saint. Oh no! Feeling the terrifying power behind him, the Ninth Firmament saint's expression changed. In the next moment, the light on his body suddenly burst out, forming 9 light shields surrounding him. Clang! The golden sword collided with one of the light shields and made a shocking sound. Crack! The light shield and the Ninth Firmament saint's body. However, the ninth firmament saint was wearing armor, so he was not pierced. However, this terrifying force still caused the blood in his body to churn. His body flew forward at an even faster speed. He even vomited a mouthful of blood. Oh no! The ninth firmament saintess everything happened so quickly that the ninth firmament saint fell into the sea before anyone could even exclaim in shock. In the next moment, the ninth saint, Lin Xian's eyes flashed with coldness. The ancient dragon abyss sword exploded in an instant, and an unparalleled power transformed into a huge dragon that slashed down viciously. Sky. When the sword landed on his opponent's body, a deafening sound rang out. The surrounding space and endless seawater were shattered, forming a vacuum zone. The ninth firmament saint plunged into the ground like a shooting star. The ninth firmament void he was in collapsed. Whoosh! Boom! The ninth firmament void trembled as if there was an earthquake. Everyone's hearts trembled. Damn it! How did this happen? The five elements' palaces' face darkened. The ninth firmament, sacred grounds, martial artists screamed. Saint! They could not believe that their holy son had actually been chopped down by someone with a single sword strike. Ah! Damn you! I'm going to kill you. In front of them, countless rays of light surged. The ninth firmament saint dashed out of the deep pit. His face was ferocious. The armor on his body was broken, and blood was flowing from the corner of his mouth. He was about to explode in anger, but in the next moment he was greeted by a terrifying foot. In the sky, Lin Ninth snorted and stomped his foot. Boom! A huge rock foot came crashing down from the sky like an ancient demonic mountain. It shattered the void and completely enveloped the saint of the nine firmament. Boom! Just as the ninth firmament saint flew into the air, he was stomped down. Boom! His body landed on the ground again. Not only that, but the foot also turned into a huge mountain and crushed down. At this moment, everyone's eyelids twitched violently. Many of them even touched their faces, subconsciously. If they had been stomped by that foot, they would have been seriously injured. More importantly, they would have been embarrassed. A saint was stomped down in public. This was definitely a great humiliation. At this moment, everyone was in an uproar. The saints and saintesses also looked serious. On the black demon ship, the immortal hall martial artists cheered. Great! The temple master is mighty. What ninth firmament saint? Now you know how powerful we are. That's right. Ninth firmament, sacred ground, wants to fight against Immortal Hall? You're too far away. Voices came from the black demon ship. Everyone's scalp went numb. The ninth firmament, sacred grounds, people were ashen-faced. They rushed up crazily, but just as they moved, the rock foot shattered. Then the ninth firmament saint flew into the air. He opened his eyes and formed a few hundred meters of light that shattered the rock in front of him. The aura on his body was monstrous. He turned into the ninth firmament immortal king and stood in the void. Damn kid, I want you dead. He was crazy, because he had never been humiliated like this before. He was actually stomped down. How was he going to show his face in the future? He had to kill the other party to wash away his humiliation. Kill! In the next moment, he rushed out like a madman. A blue bead appeared in his hand, exuding a mysterious power. Feeling the power, Lin Xian's pupils constricted. He naturally felt a terrifying power from it. It seemed that the other party had used his trump card. However, he would not continue to fight with the other party. Heavenly secret divine eyes. Soul ignition. Ah! The ninth firmament saint had just flown halfway when he screamed. He rolled in the air, looking very miserable. Seeing this scene, everyone was stunned. Damn it, what happened? Soul attack. It was definitely a soul attack. This kid was a soul expert. At this moment, the saints and saintesses' eyelids twitched wildly. Fortunately, they had seen the Twin Kings battle, so they put on their jade pendants in advance. However, the ninth firmament saint had just arrived and did not know the Twin King's situation. So this time he was directly hit in the soul. Boom! At this moment, Lin Xian slashed out a sky full of sword light. All of them landed on the ninth firmament saint, sending him flying and vomiting blood. Saint, this time the people of ninth firmament sacred ground could not take it anymore. Chapter 24:15. The saint, this time the people of the nine heavens sacred ground could not take it anymore. They rushed into the sky and caught the nine heavens saint. Damn it, let's go! The nine heavens saint gritted his teeth and said with a pale face. Hearing this, the surrounding martial artists of the nine heavens sacred ground were shocked. They did not expect that their bodies would be leaving. It seemed that their injuries were not light. In the next moment, they gritted their teeth and roared. Damn kid, I'll remember you! Immortal Palace, right? We, the nine heavens sacred ground, will not let this go. With that, they gathered around the saint of the Jiushao clouds and quickly rose into the air and flew into the distance. They ran away. They actually ran away. Looking at this scene, the surrounding people were stunned. It seemed that the nine heavens saint had lost. In the next moment, they looked at Lin Xian and gasped. This person had actually defeated the nine heavens saint. It was unbelievable, because they did not expect this result at all. In an instant, many people looked at Lin Xian in horror. The saints and saintesses were facing a formidable enemy. This was definitely a powerful enemy. However, at this moment, the wind and clouds in the sky suddenly changed. A large palm glowing with 5-colored light slammed down viciously. This palm appeared very suddenly. There was no warning at all. When it appeared, it was less than 200 meters away from Lin Xian. The space around Lin Xian shattered in an instant. Lin Xian's pupils shrank as well. He could feel a powerful aura. In the next moment, the dragon's sword realm instantly enveloped him. At the same time, streaks of sword chi shot into the sky and collided with the 5-colored palm. Crack! Crack! However, it was useless. The sword chi that filled the sky was shattered by the palm. The 5-colored palm carried the 5 elements of wood, water, fire, and earth. It completely merged together and slammed down. This was definitely a shocking palm strike from a terrifying expert. Lin Xian's face was grave. He roared and was about to use his trump card to resist. However, at this moment, a cold snort came from the black demon ship. One of the elders instantly took out a black ancient mirror, which emitted a black light. Whoosh! The black light was like a bolt of black lightning. It tore through the void and struck the 5-colored palm, piercing through it. Boom! An earth-shattering sound rang out, and the 5-colored palm disappeared, leaving behind only a trace of blood in the sky. Below, among the people from the 5 Elements Palace, an old man let out a muffled groan and withdrew his palm. His palm had been pierced through and was dripping with blood. His aged eyes looked to the sky, his face filled with fear. There was actually someone who could injure him with a single strike. Who was it? This happened so quickly that they didn't even have time to react. By the time they reacted, the 5-colored hand in the sky had already disappeared. Then they cried out in surprise. Someone actually wanted to kill him. Furthermore, looking at the 5-colored palms, could it be that the 5 Elements Palace was about to make a move? In the next moment, countless gazes looked in the direction of the 5 Elements Palace. Sure enough, they saw an old man in the crowd with bleeding palms. It's him. He seemed to be an elder of the 5 Elements Palace. Those were experts of the older generation, extremely terrifying. If that slap were to hit, even a saint would be severely injured. Yes, they didn't expect the elder of the 5 Elements Palace to actually make a move, and he was even injured. What was that black light? It seemed like there were peerless experts in Immortal Palace. Discussions sounded one after another. On the black ship, the elder rose into the air and snorted coldly. "Five Elements Palace, you sure are bold. You actually dare to attack the master of a mortal palace. Do you not want to live anymore?" The elder's aura was extremely powerful, and a black mirror floated above his head. That mirror was very simple and unadorned, hexagonal in shape. It was clearly an ancient object. At this moment, tens of thousands of black rays of light descended, shattering the void. This scene was extremely terrifying and shocking. However, what made everyone even more shocked was the elder's words. What did he say? Immortal Palace's master? Heavens, that youth was actually Immortal Palace's master? They didn't dare believe it. From the looks of it, although they had never heard of Immortal Palace, their strength was definitely not weak. They were at least at the level of a great sect. Such a power had a young man as its master? They were dumbfounded. However, from the looks of it, it shouldn't be fake. For a moment, everyone looked at Lin Xian and cried out in surprise. Among them, many people's eyes were filled with envy. His identity had probably surpassed that of a saint or a saintess. No wonder he could obtain Morong Qingqing's heart. That kid had a great background. The faces of the people from Five Elements Palace were extremely gloomy. They didn't expect their sneak attack to fail, and they were caught red-handed. For a moment, they fell silent. On the other side, the 10,000 Thunder Saints' face was gloomy, and the people of the Tuoba family were even more solemn. On the other hand, the crown prince of the Tai dynasty was screaming crazily. Palace Master? Damn it, when did that kid become the Palace Master? Wasn't he an itinerant cultivator? Those people were indeed stunned. Previously, when they joined forces with countless experts to hunt down the other party, no powerful figure jumped out from behind the other party. However, only a few months had passed, and the other party already had a force comparable to a great sect behind him. That caught the crown prince and the others off guard. Damn it, this won't do. They had to contact the people of the war tribe and kill him. Otherwise, it would be difficult to kill him in the future. Everyone was shocked by Lin Xian's identity and strength. Lin Xian's face was gloomy. Damn Five Elements Palace. How dare they sneak attack him? That was unforgivable. At the next moment, he snorted coldly and waved his hand. Attack! Order received. On the black demon ship, the crimson dragon swung its tail and instantly took control of the black demon ship. Buzz! A shocking black beam of light flew down from the sky. Its target was the people of Five Elements Palace. What? Everyone was stunned. They did not expect the other party to attack so decisively. Hurry up and leave. Countless people rose into the air and quickly flew to both sides. They wanted to leave Five Elements Palace. The people of Five Elements Palace turned pale. *CK, wasn't it just a sneak attack? Damn it! How dare you launch such a fierce attack? At the next moment, they also ran away frantically. The elders' faces were also gloomy. They shouted loudly, "Hurry up and defend!" At the next moment, they opened their mouths and spat out shields, bronze pagodas, and arrays to form countless defenses. At the same time, they retreated frantically. Boom! The black beam of light collided with the defenses, resulting in a shocking collision. A huge energy wave spread out in all directions. The ground cracked, the sky shattered, and the mountain peaks were instantly flattened. Everyone retreated in fear until they were tens of thousands of miles away. In front of them, the black light exploded, forming a black mushroom cloud that shot into the sky. Bang! 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 In the storm that filled the sky, countless figures were sent flying backward, vomiting large mouthfuls of blood. Some even exploded into a bloody mist. The elders roared crazily. Damn it, run! Chapter 24:16. Whoosh! A Five Elements mountain rushed out of the body of a peerless expert, blocking the path ahead. A 5-colored sword light formed under the feet of an elder, and he instantly disappeared into the sky along with all the people of the 5 Elements Palace. Damned brat, just you wait. This matter isn't over. The people of the 5 Elements Palace only left behind these words, along with a large amount of blood and corpses. Humph, you ran fast enough. Otherwise, I would have killed all of you the next time. Lin Xian looked into the distance and coldly snorted. The other party actually dared to sneak attack him. They were truly reckless. He decided that if he saw the people of the 5 Elements Palace again, he wouldn't let any of them off. In the sky, the terrifying energy storm disappeared, and a terrifying black hole appeared in front of them. It was so deep that one couldn't see its bottom. Everyone in the surroundings was stunned. The 5 Elements Palace was also forced to retreat. This brat was too terrifying, arrogant. As soon as he appeared, he confronted 2 holy lands. This left everyone speechless. Moreover, from the looks of it, the people of the 5 Elements Palace had suffered heavy injuries. Many of their disciples had even been killed. This was definitely a shocking matter. Whoosh! While everyone was in a daze, a golden Taoist robe appeared in the sky and gently fluttered in the wind. The remnant energy storm in the surroundings dissipated. A voice rang out from among the savage beasts below. Everyone, we came here to explore the ancient tomb. Why is there a need to fight? This was an expert from the Wavering Light, Holy Land. Everyone was shocked. They hadn't expected that the big shot of the Wavering Light, Holy Land would speak. It wasn't just the Wavering Light, Holy Land. In the sky, an elder of the Yi family also spoke. That's right. I feel that it's time to start cracking the ancient tomb. Yes, an old lady from the Jade Lake, Holy Land nodded. She agreed. The eyes of the All Beginnings, Holy Land's elder flickered. At this moment, the experts of various clans rushed over. Lin Xian and the others also focused their attention. I feel that we should first work together to break the seal outside. After entering the ancient tomb, we can compete with our own strength. What do you think? Good, good. Everyone agreed. After all, fighting outside wouldn't bring them any benefits. Moreover, this was the ancient tomb of a sage. The seal should be extremely terrifying. It would be more reliable to work together to break the seal. Good. Since that's the case, let's discuss it. The Yi family's elder walked. Many disciples of the Yi family followed behind him. On the other side, the elder from the Wavering Light, Holy Land, also rose into the air. People from the other clans and holy lands were all rushing over. For a moment, countless rays of light shone in the sky. This place was the Grand Xia Empire. Most likely, the royal clan of Grand Xia would be the first to investigate this place. Why don't you share the information with us? How about we come up with a countermeasure? Hearing this, many people turned their heads and looked in the same direction. There were many people there wearing yellow robes with fierce flood dragons embroidered on them. One of them was a young man with sword-like eyebrows and starry eyes. He was very handsome and wore a long white robe, which made him look like an immortal. He was a prince of the great Xia dynasty. There were many elders of the royal family by his side. At this moment, a gray-haired imperial family elder heard this and flew into the sky. He said, "Loudly, gentlemen, we have indeed carried out a great deal of investigation. This saint's tomb was very big. Currently, it was hundreds of thousands of miles wide. However, according to our estimates, the entire tomb must be several million li long." So big. Everyone was shocked, but after thinking about it, they understood. After all, this was the tomb of a saint. From the hundreds of thousands of miles that we have discovered so far, we have found 3 places to enter. However, there are too many array formations and seals inside. We can't get through them alone. According to our observations and speculations, one of the 3 places is the weakest. Even so, it will take 100 grandmasters who are proficient in array formations to work together for a month to tear the array formation apart. Hearing this, everyone gasped. It was indeed the tomb of a saint. It was too terrifying. Without further ado, let's begin. After hearing this, the Yi family elders' eyes flickered. Soon, the various sacred grounds, great sects, and families sent out their array formation grandmasters to prepare and work together to break the array formation. Lin Xian also sent out 2 grandmasters. One was elderly, and the other was a middle-aged deacon. Of course, that didn't mean that they only had 2 people. It was just that they didn't need to reveal all their trump cards. The other sacred grounds and great sects should have done the same. After all, each force would send out 1 or 2 grandmasters. When they worked together, it would be a very terrifying group. They should be able to break it. The great Xia dynasty elder said that he needed 100 people, but there were a total of 150 grandmasters gathered. It seemed that everyone wanted to break it as soon as possible. Seeing this, the great Xia dynasty elder nodded and said, "Everyone, please follow me." Whoosh! They flew into the distance. After flying for a while, the great Xia dynasty elder's body swayed and he landed below. Seeing this, everyone followed him and landed as well. There was a canyon below that was more than 10,000 miles long. At this moment, the great Xia dynasty elder entered the canyon. The 150 array formation grandmasters followed him in together. The others landed around the canyon to watch. Lin Xian and the Crimson Dragon also followed. The 2 of them looked in the direction and frowned. That was because they had indeed sensed the fluctuations of an array formation. It was very obscure, but it had a terrifying aura. Boom! The great Xia dynasty elder landed below the canyon and waved his hand. Immediately, the vines on the mountain walls were all removed, revealing the entire 3 walls. Then, everyone was shocked. They discovered that the mountain walls were actually engraved with densely packed runes that looked like tadpoles. It was very mysterious. The surrounding people discussed because they couldn't understand it at all. The eyes of the saints and saintesses were also flickering. Below, the 150 array formation grandmasters also began to discuss when they saw the countless mysterious runes. They all frowned. Indeed, this array formation was very mysterious. No wonder the great Xia dynasty didn't do anything. Even if they did, they probably wouldn't be able to break it in a short time. It seemed to be a type of writing. An array formation grandmaster of the Yi family frowned. Writing? Are you saying that these runes are writing? The others were also surprised and looked over one by one. They knew that the Yi family was a clan of the ancients, and they definitely had an inheritance that had been passed down since ancient times. That was something that ordinary families couldn't compare to. Therefore, at this moment, everyone was shocked. Among them, the elder of the Jade Lake Sacred Ground asked, "What did it say?" Since it was writing, it must be a record. However, the elder of the Yi family shook his head. He only knew a few of the words and couldn't connect them at all. Hearing this, everyone sighed, their faces filled with disappointment. But then they felt relieved. They were all experts of the peerless sects and sacred grounds. If even they couldn't understand it, one could imagine that even if it was writing, it should be very ancient. Such writing was very rare. It was already very impressive that the people of the Yi family could recognize a few words. Chapter 24:17. The other saints and saintesses were also waiting silently. They knew that it would take at least a month to crack it, so it was normal that they couldn't understand it now. However, the Crimson Dragon frowned, and there was a trace of doubt in his eyes. "What's wrong?" Lin Xian asked. "What did you see?" He also looked at it for a long time. He only saw that there was a strong seal on it, but he didn't know whether it was text or not. The Crimson Dragon cautiously transmitted his voice. "Why do I feel that those runes are a little familiar?" "Familiar? Do you know them?" Lin Xian was also surprised and his eyelids twitched. He also transmitted his voice to ask, After all, this matter was too important, and he didn't dare to expose it. I don't know them, but I feel like I've seen them before. It looks like some kind of text was formed after being complicated. Formed after being complicated? Lin Xian frowned, and soon he understood. You mean you've seen a simplified version of these runes? You can say that. The Crimson Dragon nodded. But even if it's simplified, I've seen it before. At most, I can recognize a few words. Then, what's the simplified version of the text? Lin Xian felt that this was a clue. The text of the demon race. The demon race. Hearing this, Lin Xian was stunned. How could it be the demon race? Could it be that the ancient tomb of the saint belonged to the demon race? Was the demon saint buried in it? Lin Xian didn't know, but this was also one of the possibilities. After all, the Crimson Dragon proposed such a clue, so there was a high chance that it was so. Lin Xian didn't tell others, because he felt that even if he didn't say anything, the array grandmasters in front of him probably had a way to crack it. Indeed, the array grandmasters in front of them had already begun to discuss a way to crack it together. Some of the others were watching, and some felt bored, so they set up camp nearby. In an instant, the surrounding thousands of miles were all occupied by the people of these Holy Land families. The people of the Immortal Palace also occupied a valley, and these people were recuperating inside. Among them, Lin Xian and the Crimson Dragon did not return to the valley. Instead, they were watching from the side of the canyon. Among them, Morong Qingqing came to accompany them for a few days and then went back. Hu Yidao and the others also came several times, but they couldn't understand it after watching for a long time, so they went back to cultivate. Tens of thousands of miles away from the canyon, in a mountain range, there were countless figures flashing. These people's hidden auras were extremely powerful, and they were not any weaker than the experts from the Holy Lands and great sects. At this moment, there was a light screen in front of them, which was dozens of meters tall. On the screen was the scene of the people in the canyon, cracking the array. There were many people standing in front of the image. There were men and women, young and old. Among them was a young man in a green robe. He was very handsome. Beside him stood a beautiful woman in a snow-white robe. If Lin Xian was here and saw this woman, he would definitely cry out in surprise. This was because this was the Yan Rui that he had met before. She was also the Zhao Shui that Lin Xian suspected. At this moment, Yan Rui's beautiful face was looking at the screen of light before her. Then she frowned. Fairy Ruyu, what did you discover? The handsome young man at the side asked. Yan Ruyu's eyes flickered. These words seemed to be the language of the demon race. Now that she thought about it, it did look a little similar. The man in the green robe next to her also frowned. Hearing this, the elders behind were all shocked. They all stretched their heads over and looked carefully. After looking for a long time, they looked embarrassed. They couldn't understand. They really couldn't understand. The man in the green robe next to him also shrugged. Everyone around them couldn't understand. They looked at Yan Ryu. Yan Ryu sighed. I can't understand it either, but I can understand the ancient language. This is obviously beyond the ancient era. I don't know which era it is from. Hearing this, these people sucked in a breath of cold air. Then their eyes lit up. Could it be that this is the tomb of the ancient sage of the demon race? It's very likely. Great. If we can get the things inside, we can definitely develop and grow stronger. When the time comes, there might even be news about the nest of 10,000 dragons. Damn it, the tomb of the demon race has been occupied by so many humans. I can't take it lying down. There were also people who gritted their teeth. Why don't we rush over and kill them all? A burly man said. His entire body was covered in scales, and he looked very demonic. However, after the man in the green robe heard this, he snorted coldly. Don't be rash. Although the Demon Lord Palace is also a sacred land, there are too many great sects here this time. We must not be rash. We must let them break the array formation first. We can just follow behind. Anyway, this is the tomb of the demon race. We definitely know more about the mechanisms and things inside than them. When the time comes, we can just go in and snatch the treasures. Everyone agreed to this plan. Yenryu, who was at the side, also nodded slightly. However, when she saw the red snake flashing by on the screen, a glint appeared in her eyes. But very quickly she hid it. These people were from the Demon Lord Palace. The Demon Lord Palace was a very terrifying sacred land in the southern mountains. The people inside were all related to the demon race, and most of them were half demons. Unexpectedly, they had also come at this moment, and they began to plan from tens of thousands of miles away. On the other side, in the Great Canyon, 150 array masters had already begun to work. They used everything they had learned in their lives and began to break the array formation. The other saints and saintesses, as well as the warriors of the various sacred lands, were all recuperating nearby. Only a few people were watching around. Lin Xian and the Crimson Dragon were among them. Both of them were proficient in array formations. Although they did not make a move, they would not let go of this opportunity to watch. In the blink of an eye, a month had passed. More than half of the array formation had been broken, but it was not broken. This was far beyond everyone's expectations. It seemed that the defense of this array formation was terrifying, and it was beyond everyone's imagination. After about another half a month, there was finally a boom. Endless spiritual energy in front of them surged into the clouds, forming a strange scene. Was it opened? All the warriors in the surrounding thousands of miles stood up and looked up at the sky. Whoosh! Their bodies swayed, and like ghosts, they gathered in the Great Canyon. Lin Xian and the Crimson Dragon also stood up, their eyes shining. They had been watching the entire process. Finally, on this day, the array formation in front of them shattered. The sturdy mountain wall was engraved with mysterious runes. At this moment, a crack appeared in the middle and slowly opened. Rumble! The entire mountain range trembled. Finally, a pitch-black cave entrance appeared, emitting a primordial aura. At this moment, the sky and the ground were filled with figures. They looked forward and were extremely excited. The people from the Immortal Palace also came to Lin Xian's side. They were also extremely excited, but no one rushed forward rashly. The eyes of the array masters at the forefront flickered. Chapter 2418. Whoosh! The martial artists of the Yaoguang sacred land waved their hands and took out a few demonic beasts. These demonic beasts were about 5-star demon kings. At this moment, they were tied with golden chains. Go! 3 demon wolves and 2 demon tigers were thrown in. These demonic beasts quickly entered, and the golden chains rattled in the air. After about half an hour, the 3 demon wolves and 2 demon tigers returned. They were not injured. They were also in high spirits. Obviously, they had not been attacked. Seeing this scene, everyone breathed a sigh of relief. It seemed that there should be no danger. At least there were no traps in the entrance. Thinking of this, they all became excited. The elders of the Yi family, Yaoguang, Jade Lake, and other sacred lands looked at each other and then nodded. They could enter. With this order, these people were very excited. Whoosh! 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 Countless figures flew into the cave like locusts, covering the sky and covering the earth. They were afraid that if they were a step slower, the items would be taken away. Let's go. The people of the Yi family set off. Among them, Yi Wudao's figure was tall. His golden, sacred domain rushed out, covered the people around him, and quickly entered. After that, the people of the Yaoguang sacred land also went in. The auras of the elders surged, and the young martial artists followed behind the Yaoguang sacred son and the Yaoguang sacred daughter. The All Beginnings sacred land. The sacred daughter of all beginnings entered with a group of people. The sacred son of all beginnings snorted and also entered with countless experts. The relationship between the sacred daughter of all beginnings and the sacred son was not very good, so they divided into two groups. Elder brother Xian and Murong Qingcheng looked at Lin Xian. Lin Xian smiled. You follow the sacred land in first. We will meet again when there is a chance. Okay, Murong Qingcheng nodded. Then she and the experts of the Jade Lake sacred land walked in. Let's go. Lin Xian took a deep breath. He, the Crimson Dragon, Hu Yi Dao, Xing Tian, 3 elders, dozens of deacons, and 100 elites. They walked into the cave together. Not long after Lin Xian entered, the people from the 5 Elements Palace also arrived. They looked at the figure with gloomy expressions. This time, there was a young man in a 5-colored Taoist robe in front of them. He was very handsome, and his aura was even more terrifying. It seemed that this was the 5 Element Saint. Is that the kid who just went in? The 5 Elements Saint's eyes shone with a cold light. That's right, it was him. The surrounding 5 Elements Palace members gnashed their teeth in anger. When the 5 Elements Saint heard this, he sneered. What's the big deal? When I meet him in the tomb, I'll just kill him. As he spoke, he strode in with his men. On the other side, the people from the 9 heavens, holy ground, had also arrived. The 9 heavens Saint's face was a little pale, but from the looks of it, he should be fine. As he watched Lin Xian's figure enter, his face turned cold and his eyes were filled with killing intent. Damned brat, this time I'll definitely kill you. Let's go. The Saint of the 9 Firmament quickly entered with his men. Apart from this, countless figures entered, and this continued for a very long time. Ha ha! Get out of my way! At this moment, a voice sounded in the distance, turning into a powerful torrent that rushed forward. Boom! Many people were sent flying. Damn it! Who is it? How dare you sneak attack us? Do you want to die? These people were furious. How dare someone attack us at the entrance of the cave? What? Do you think we're easy to bully? Among these people, there were people from the sacred grounds, and there were also people from the great sections. They turned around angrily. However, in the next moment, their faces turned green. Zhong Zhou's twin kings. He was back again. These people trembled and immediately made way for him. To be honest, they were too shocked. Previously, they had seen with their own eyes that the Zhong Zhou twin kings had gone crazy and left. At that time, the good one and the evil one were killing each other. They thought that they had to kill one of them in the end to stop the battle. However, they did not expect that the other party would appear again. Moreover, the good one and the evil one existed at the same time, and neither of them were injured. What was going on? Could it be that the two of them had stopped fighting? They did not know what had happened, but they knew that the Zhong Zhou twin kings were too terrifying. That kid was probably going to be unlucky. Sure enough, the Zhong Zhou twin kings roared ferociously as they flew quickly. That damned kid, how dare you sow discord? You even used illusions. I won't spare you this time. I'll capture him and suppress him to the 18th level of hell. An ice-cold voice rang out. The Central State twin kings rushed into the cave in front of them, accompanied by a radiance that filled the sky. The surrounding people swallowed their saliva crazily. They knew that things had gotten out of hand. When the two sides met, there would definitely be a shocking battle. Let's go quickly. These people discussed and moved forward at the same time. Soon, the princes of the royal family and the various aristocratic families entered one after another. The entire process lasted for a long time. There were too many people. Fortunately, the ancient tomb of the saint was incomparably huge and could accommodate all of them. In fact, the space inside was far beyond their imagination. After waiting for a long time, when most of the people had entered and only a few itinerant cultivators were left, countless figures flew over from the distance again. These people dragged long streaks of light and landed in the canyon like comets. The person in the lead was Yen Ruyu, whose clothes were whiter than snow. Next to her was a green-robed demonic man, followed by a large number of experts. They were the people from the Demon Imperial Palace who were hiding in the dark. When they came to the canyon and saw the two blood-colored doors at a close distance, they all laughed. As expected, it was the language of the demon race. It seemed that this was indeed the ancient tomb of the demon race's saint. There might be ancient cultivation methods and heaven-defying treasures inside. They had to leave quickly and not let those people get it. These people entered one after another. Inside the ancient tomb, everyone flew quickly. Armor appeared on their bodies, and shields surrounded them to prevent sneak attacks. Lin Xian and the others also moved quickly. Not long after, the vision in front of them gradually widened and light appeared. "Speed up!" Seeing this scene, Lin Xian waved his hand. Immediately, the people from the Immortal Palace increased their speed. In front of them was a cave. It was extremely vast. There were countless white pillars in the surroundings, connecting the surface to the top of the mountain. There were even countless holes. At this moment, there were water droplets dripping on the ground, making dripping sounds. This was a karst cave. After entering, Peacock cried out in surprise. The others were also extremely shocked. They looked around. At this moment, someone in front of them pointed at the ground and went crazy with excitement. "We're rich. It's actually Earth Spirit liquid." "What? Earth Spirit liquid?" The surrounding people were shocked and turned their heads. Sure enough, they saw that the liquid in the puddle on the ground was emitting a pure energy, causing their blood to boil. It was really Earth Spirit liquid, and from the looks of it, it should be tens of thousands of years old. After all, this was an ancient tomb that had been passed down since ancient times. Chapter 2419. We're rich. Hurry up and attack, the people in front exclaimed. They reached out with their large palms and grabbed over. There was no such thing outside at all. Only ancient tombs that had been sealed for a long time would have it. They did not expect to find such a precious earth spirit liquid the moment they entered. It seemed that the preciousness of this ancient tomb was far beyond their imagination. Get lost. My unfettered sect discovered it first. In front, a few disciples of the unfettered sect roared crazily and attacked quickly. Beside them, multicolored light flickered. It was extremely terrifying. Humph! A cold snort came from behind. A fist quickly blasted over. It was like an ancient demon mountain that did not release any light. However, that power made the heavens and earth tremble. Fortunately, this was a saint's ancient tomb and had the saint's laws. Therefore, the surrounding buildings did not shatter. However, the entire space still shook violently. Boom! The terrifying fist shattered the unfettered sect's attack. The blood in the bodies of the unfettered sect's disciples churned as they flew forward. They crashed into the stone pillar in front of them, and countless fragments fell. Ah! They roared crazily. Damn it! Who was it? Soon they were stunned. For symbols sacred ground? How dare you go against our unfettered sect? Ha ha! Treasures belong to those who are capable. What do you mean by yours or mine? This is an ownerless item. Behind them, a few burly men sneered. They were very tall, and the muscles on their bodies bulged with terrifying power. They were the martial artists of the four symbols, sacred ground. Well said. Treasures belong to those who are capable. However, the four symbols, sacred ground, should rest at the side. A few people with the aura of the Tao of Dragon around them walked out. They were from the royal family. Seeing the scene, many people exclaimed. The experts of the four symbols, sacred ground, frowned. 9 Li Dynasty's people you want to attack too? Nonsense. Get lost if you don't want to die. The experts of the 9 Li Dynasty snorted coldly. The aura of the Tao of Dragon on their bodies surged with destructive power, courting death. The experts of the four symbols, sacred ground, roared and charged over. In an instant, a huge battle broke out. It was extremely terrifying, not only here, but there were intense battles everywhere because everyone was fighting for the earth spirit liquid on the ground. However, these people also knew the severity of the situation. They controlled the battle within a certain range and did not affect the surroundings. Otherwise, the collapse of the saint's tomb was no joke. Moreover, they were even more afraid of the traps in this place. If they were to encounter a trap, a terrifying array formation would appear. Therefore, although these people were fighting fiercely, their energy was precisely controlled, and not a single bit leaked out. Young master, what should we do? When Hui Dao and the others saw this, they were also very excited. Seeing a treasure, they naturally had to make a move. Lin Xian smiled. Let's split into 3 teams. Elder Wang, you lead a team. Elder Lu, you lead a team. Elderly, stay by my side. Yes. The 3 elders nodded, and Lin Xian looked at the 100 elites behind him. Split into 3 groups and follow these 3 elders. Ghostly, you go to Elder Wang. Yidao, you follow Elder Lu. Peacock, follow me. Let's split up. If you are in danger, send out a distress signal and we will provide support. Yes. These people were divided into 3 groups. Attack! With a single command, the 3 teams transformed into 3 torrents and joined in the scramble. Little White, it's up to you. Lin Xian did not make a move, but instead, he pulled out the little white monkey. The little white monkey was very excited, and it ran around with its small bowl. With a flash of light, all the earth essence in one of the puddles was scraped away. Ah, who is it? The surrounding people roared crazily. Damn it! Who did it? Come out! These people were really crazy. After fighting for so long, the earth essence, liquid, disappeared. How could they not go crazy? Whoosh! The little white monkey came back and danced excitedly. There was a lot of earth essence liquid in its small bowl. Good, good, good. Elder Li's eyes widened into a smile. He quickly took out a jade gourd and placed all of the spirit liquid inside. The little white monkey's body swayed, and it went to fight again. Peacock, bring some people with you. Lin Xian said with a smile. Peacock could not wait any longer. Although she was a girl, she was very combative. At this moment, she led the elites behind her and quickly rushed to the battle. Only Lin Xian, Elderly, and Xing Tian were left. With these 2 powerful people guarding him, Lin Xian was not worried about his safety. Roar! At this moment, a strange cry sounded in the sky, and then a red figure rushed over. Ha ha ha! It's all Ben Huang's. To be able to make such a sound, it had to be the Crimson Dragon. Damn snake! Get lost! The powerful beings of the Vermilion Bird sect roared, and the flames on their bodies formed the projection of a vermilion bird, which enveloped the Crimson Dragon. They wanted to refine it. Bam, bam, bam. The Crimson Dragon swung its tail and slapped the projection of the Vermilion Bird away, then slapped the powerful beings of the Vermilion Bird sect, sending them flying. Then it opened its mouth and swallowed the entire puddles. Gulp, gulp. He drank all the earth essence liquid in the puddles. Ha ha ha! Awesome! Delicious! The Crimson Dragon yelled excitedly. Seeing this, the eyes of the people around them turned red. There were at least 100 drops of earth essence liquid in the puddles, but they were all swallowed by the Crimson Dragon. How could they accept that? Damn snake! Spit it out! The powerful beings of the Vermilion Bird sect roared. They rushed over again. The eyes of the people from the other families and sacred grounds were also red. In an instant, 3 forces surrounded the Crimson Dragon. In the distance, many elders were so angry that they vomited blood. What a prodigal! If those 100 drops were taken back and refined with spirit herbs, they would definitely be able to refine countless spirit pills and elixirs. But now the Crimson Dragon had drunk it all? That's not a prodigal. What is it if not a waste? Spit it out? Fine. I'll spit it out for you. Ba 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 ba. I'll spit it all over your faces. The crimson dragon spat its saliva wildly in the air. That was not ordinary saliva, nor was it the earth essence liquid, but the dragon yen. Of course, it was different from the legendary dragon yen. Legend had it that a drop of the dragon yen was comparable to a peerless divine medicine and could bring the dead back to life. However, in reality, the dragon yen was extremely corrosive. In an instant, all the attacks in the air were melted. Some of the saliva even landed on the bodies of those people, causing them to emit sizzling white smoke. Those people were rolling on the ground and screaming crazily. "Damn it, this snake is too evil. What is it spitting out? Oh no, its saliva is poisonous. Don't let it hit you." All kinds of screams and screams were heard. The cultivators in other places also twitched their mouths. Where did this terrifying monster come from? Fortunately, the crimson dragon did not target the earth essence liquid around them. However, everyone's faces soon turned green. The crimson dragon rose into the air again and flew toward another puddle of earth essence liquid. Chapter 24:20. Seeing this scene, Lin Xian's face also darkened. He transmitted his voice, "Ruzelong, stop eating. I'll refine something good for you when we get back. You're wasting too much." Not only him, but even Xing Tian and Elder Li's mouths twitched. Although they were experts of a mortal palace and were used to seeing treasures, they had never seen such a waste. The crimson dragon snatched another two and then returned to Lin Xian's side. He looked at the three people whose faces had darkened and chuckled. "What do you know? Ben Huang didn't really eat it." As he spoke, he looked at Elderly. "Old man, take out your jade gourd." "What are you doing?" Elderly was puzzled, but he still took it out. After the crimson dragon took it, he opened the cap and started to spit inside. I'm spitting, I'm spitting, I'm spitting. F***CK. No. Elderly immediately became anxious. His eyes were red. "This is great earth spirit liquid. If you spit inside, how will others use it in the future?" Xing Tian was also stunned. "What's going on?" Lin Xian's face also darkened. After the crimson dragon finished spitting, it chuckled. "Why are you looking at me? This is great earth spirit liquid. F***CK. Lin Xian was so angry that he stomped his feet. It was indeed great earth spirit liquid. It seemed that the other party didn't absorb it, but stored it in his body. However, the great earth spirit liquid was mixed with the crimson dragon's saliva. It was disgusting, no matter how he thought about it. F***CK. Can't you store it in another way? Lin Xian gritted his teeth. Elder Li gave him another jade gourd and told him to put it inside. Elder Li's face darkened. He gave the crimson dragon a jade gourd and snatched the previous one. He looked at the great earth spirit liquid inside. There was indeed twice as much. However, he thought that if he used the liquid inside to refine pills in the future, he would consume it. Wouldn't that be eating the other party's saliva? When he thought of this, he felt nauseous. Therefore, Elder Li secretly left a mark on the gourd. He decided that the pills refined from the gourd would be distributed to the other halls. He would never touch it. An intense battle broke out in the cave. Other than Lin Xian's side, the other great sects of the Holy Lands were also extremely terrifying. Boom! Leaf Dowdenier unleashed his sage domain, and terrifying light spread out in all directions. No one dared to approach. The saintly body and the power of the remote antiquity families were absolutely terrifying. In another direction, the same light was shining. 108 Buddhas were circling in the sky. It was a terrifying sight. This was the Alcade Saint. As soon as he attacked, he immediately sent the group of people in front of him flying, causing them to be filled with terror and not dare to approach him again. There was nothing they could do about it. They realized that the Alcade Saint's son was too terrifying. His strength was unfathomable. Get lost. I'm the one who took a fancy to him." At this moment, an angry roar sounded from another direction. Immediately after, boundless demonic chi filled the sky and instantly blasted dozens of powerhouses away. What? The Central State's twin kings. He's here again? Seeing this scene, everyone trembled. They didn't expect the Central State's twin kings to appear again. Moreover, from the looks of it, they didn't seem to be injured at all. Could it be that the previous attempt to sow discord had no effect on him? As expected, everyone thought that the Central State's twin kings wouldn't die so easily. In the crowd, Lin Xian also frowned when he saw this scene. They're fine? How is that possible? He was extremely puzzled. Previously, he had successfully sowed discord between the virtuous and evil princes, causing them to fight. It seemed that they were at least seriously injured. However, the twin kings weren't injured at all. What happened in the middle? He didn't know. In addition to the twin kings of the Central State, the Jade Pool was also very terrifying. Murong Qingqing shot out a lotus flower that spread in all directions. Those people couldn't get close at all. The powerhouses of the Central State's imperial princes were also extremely terrifying. Streams of dragon chi surrounded them like true dragons. There were also the divine monks of the western desert and the terrifying powerhouses of the southern border. There were too many powerhouses. Each of them was extremely terrifying. They quickly divided the surrounding earth spirit liquid. Boom! At this moment, a few figures suddenly exploded, turning into a bloody mist that scattered in all directions. At first, no one noticed it at all. After all, it was an intense battle, and it was normal for someone to be killed. However, gradually they realized that something was wrong. That was because more and more people went crazy. Their eyes were bloodshot, and they kept attacking their companions. What was going on? Damn it! Someone used an illusion technique. Was it that brat from the Immortal Palace? In an instant, countless people screamed. Many people even wanted to find Lin Xian. Lin Xian also frowned. He didn't use any illusion technique. It should be an expert who used a soul attack, right? The dark rainbow divine dragon flew back. The jade gourd in his hand also contained a lot of earth spirit liquid. However, at this moment, his expression was a little serious. Not good, this place is strange. What's wrong? What did you find? Xingtian asked. Elder Li also frowned as his gaze swept across the surroundings. A trace of golden light appeared in Lin Xian's eyes. In the next moment, he felt cold. That was because he found that there seemed to be a few strange things around him. Were those butterflies? Those butterflies were very beautiful and colorful. However, at this moment, there were all kinds of lights in the cave, so no one noticed them at all. After Lin Xian activated his heavenly secret divine eyes, he immediately noticed them. What was even more strange was that there were things tied to those butterflies. What were those things? Lin Xian looked carefully, and in the next moment his pupils shrank. That was because he found that there was a bronze bell tied to those butterflies. The bell was octagonal, and there were very mysterious runes engraved on it. They were similar to the runes on the blood-colored door outside. They were abnormally ancient. He didn't recognize them at all. However, at this moment, as the butterflies danced, the bronze bell let out a tinkling sound. Lin Xian keenly sensed that the sound carried an extremely powerful soul attack. Could it be that all the soul attacks from before were released by the bells on those butterflies? He was surprised. He looked carefully and found that there were a total of 3 bells floating in the air. Lin Xian hurriedly told the Crimson Dragon, Xingtian, and Elder Li what happened. After seeing this scene, Elder Li's pupils shrank. Not good, it's Flower Protector. Hurry up and call our people back and leave this place. Xingtian called them all back. Lin Xian gave the order. At the same time, he asked Elder Li, what is Flower Protector? It's a very terrifying weapon. Elder Li's expression was ugly. He said that in ancient times there was a very terrifying, peerless powerhouse. This powerhouse had no other hobbies except for beautiful women. Therefore, he kidnapped the saintesses of the various sacred grounds and wanted to build a huge harem. Damn, this guy's ambition is too big. Hearing this, the Crimson Dragon exclaimed, and Lin Xian's eyelids twitched. Then, what does this have to do with Flower Protector? Chapter 24-21. Elder Li continued. Think about it. The saintesses of the sacred grounds would be like the masters of the sacred grounds in the future. How could they allow themselves to be kidnapped and to become someone's concubine or sex slave? That was unforgivable. Therefore, the sacred grounds sent out a large number of experts to kill that peerless figure. However, that person was quite impressive. He was also a devil. He created a kind of bell and sealed the dozen or so saintesses. The experts from the Holy Lands who had rushed over to help were all reduced to ashes by the bell. This bell was called the Flower Protector Bell by the Demon King. However, the Flower Protector had been lost for a long time. No one expected it to appear here. It was definitely a terrifying weapon of mass destruction. Hearing that, Xing Tian did not dare to delay. He quickly called back the other two teams and Peacock's men. After hearing that, their faces changed drastically. They did not expect there to be such a terrifying thing here. Looking at the crazy crowd around them, they were scared. Lin Xian gave the order for them to move forward quickly. The great earth spirit liquid was almost all collected. The rest was controlled by the sacred grounds. It would not be easy to snatch it again. Moreover, there was such a terrifying weapon here. They might as well go deeper. This was the saint's tomb. There were plenty of treasures. There was no need to lose their lives here for a little bit of great earth spirit liquid. Damn it, it was the Flower Protector. At that moment, the other elders of the Holy Land also noticed the bronze bell. They were scared out of their wits. After all, they were elders of the sacred grounds. Naturally, they had heard of the rumors in the sacred grounds. They did not expect to see such a terrifying weapon of mass destruction. In the next moment, these people snatched the great earth spirit liquid and quickly escaped. They had no choice. The rumors said that this thing was too fierce. In an instant, everyone entered the depths of the cave. There were fewer and fewer people in the cave. However, there were still some people here. The remaining people wanted to snatch the last bit of great earth spirit liquid. Of course, there were also some people who looked at the sky with flickering eyes. No one knew what they were thinking. Lin Xian also said, Elder Wang, Elder Lu, take the people and leave first. Elder Li, Xing Tian, you two stay here to support me. Temple Master, what are you trying to do? Elder Li asked. Lin Xian looked at the sky. You said that this is a weapon of mass destruction? If I can get it, wouldn't it be a very powerful treasure? No way. Hearing this, Elder Li and the other two shuddered. Hui Dao and the others also looked frightened. It had to be said that their palace master was really too bold. Even the elders of the Holy Lands had to flee upon seeing this thing. And their palace master actually wanted to take one as a treasure? This made them feel dizzy. That was too dangerous. Elder Li frowned. The other two elders also had worried looks on their faces. Lin Xian said, What's the big deal? Wealth comes from danger. Also, look at the people who haven't left yet. They are probably thinking about Flower Protector. As expected, the Yi family and the Wavering Light, Holy Land, didn't leave. In addition, there were also a few Holy Lands, great sects, and members of the imperial family. Their gazes were all fixed on the three Flower Protectors. From the looks of it, he really wanted Flower Protector. Older brother Xian, aren't you leaving? Murong Qingqing asked through voice transmission. She looked puzzled. Lin Xian smiled and pointed upwards. Murong Qingqing glanced at the three Flower Protectors with a worried expression. It'll be fine. I'm sure. Well, be careful. Murong Qingqing and the people of the Jade Lake sacred ground left. She wasn't too worried. She knew that Lin Xian had a lot of trump cards, and his identity was different from before. His life shouldn't be in danger. As for the flower protector, the Jade Lake sacred ground had no interest in it. Therefore, Murong Qingqing left. Seeing Lin Xian insist, Elder Wang and Elder Lu took a deep breath. Well, be careful, Palace Master. We'll go ahead first. The two elders waved their hands and led Hu Dao and the other two, as well as 100 elites, to the front quickly. Only Lin Xian, the snow-white little monkey, the dark red dragon, Elder Li, and Xing Tian were left behind. As everyone left, the cave was already very empty. There was a large open space. The few people who stayed here looked at each other, their eyes full of vigilance. Yi Wudao looked at Lin Xian and said with a smile, "Brother Lin, which one do you like?" "This one." Lin Xian pointed at the flower protector closest to him. "Well, I want this one." Yi Wudao pointed at the flower protector closest to them. They didn't pay attention to the third one. Humph. Shameless boasting. At this moment, a cold snort was heard. It was the 5-element saint. Around him, the 1,000 Thunder saint also sneered. "Kid, I finally found you." At this moment, the twin kings of Zhongzhou also flew over. He stared at Lin Xian with a cold light in his eyes, and his murderous aura soared into the sky. Seeing this scene, Xing Tian and Elder Li's faces completely darkened. The current situation was very unfavorable for them. Not only the 5-element saint and the twin kings, but also the 1,000 Thunder Saint and other families were lurking here. It seemed that they all wanted to attack them. Seeing this scene, countless people looked over. Among them, Yi Wudao sneered and stared at the twin kings of Zhongzhou. "You claim to be invincible in Zhongzhou? Let me see what qualifications you have to say that." As he said that, he threw a punch out. His golden fist flickered like a golden sun as it charged directly at the twin kings of Zhongzhou. "You're courting death." The twin kings of Zhongzhou were furious. They didn't expect that someone would dare to attack them. Boom! The evil one waved his death scythe, while the good one waved his heavenly treasure Dharma wheel to resist. A great battle broke out. Yi Wudao let out a long roar and rushed over with his golden, sacred domain. Firstly, he wanted to save Lin Xian from danger. Secondly, he had his own reasons. As a sacred body, he thought that he was invincible. Now that he had encountered the twin kings who claimed to be invincible in Zhongzhou, he naturally had to fight them. Therefore, the two of them instantly started fighting. Terrifying energy surged in all directions. Among them, a few powerhouses wanted to secretly seize Yi Wudao and the nearby flower protectors. In the end, they were sent flying by the energy shock waves and vomited large mouthfuls of blood. For a moment, they didn't dare to have any ideas about flower protectors near Yi Wudao. Therefore, they looked at the other two. One of them was where Lin Xian was. The situation there was the most complicated, and many people wanted to make a move. As for the third one, the wavering light saint stood out. "This is mine," the Alcade sage said faintly. Although his voice wasn't loud, there was an unquestionable tone in his words. "Humph, if you want to protect flower protectors, you'll have to ask my fist first." The 4 symbols Saint Child charged over and fought with the Alcade Saint Child. For a moment, there were also a few powerhouses around, waiting for an opportunity to sneak attack and snatch flower protectors. Chapter 24-22. The 4 symbols Saint Child charged over and fought with the Alcade Saint Child. At the side, the eyes of a few experts flickered as they waited for an opportunity to snatch the flower protector. On Lin Xian's side, the 5-element saint walked out. 5-colored light surrounded his body, making him look like a god fiend. Kid, you're the one who destroyed my 5 elements palace? You really don't know what's good for you. I'll give you a chance. Kneel down and apologize, and I'll spare your life." Hearing that, Elder Li and Xing Tian's faces darkened, and a cold light flashed in their eyes. However, Lin Xian sneered. "You're the one who doesn't know what's good for you." Boom! He struck out with his palm. The sun, moon, divine palm surrounded the surroundings and pressed down from the sky. The sun, moon, and stars emitted a terrifying light as if a starry sky was descending from the sky. Once the sun, moon, divine palm was unleashed, a terrifying energy swept out, causing the surrounding people to scream. They all retreated. For a moment, no one dared to attack. "Humph! The 5 elements!" Saint shouted angrily. Others did not dare to attack, but he did. 5 elements fist. With a furious roar, the 5 elements Saint threw out a golden fist with an indomitable aura and charged toward the sun, moon, divine palm. An intense collision sounded, and violent energy tore through the void, shaking heaven and earth. The sun, moon, and stars revolved, trying to refine the golden fist. The golden fist was extremely violent, and it instantly shattered many stars. "Kid, I heard that you also know the 5 elements technique. Today, I'll show you what the real 5 elements technique is." Earth fist. The earth rumbled, turning into a ferocious earth dragon that soared into the sky and pierced through the sun, moon, divine palm. Then it bared its fangs and brandished its claws as it charged toward Lin Xian. Whoosh! Lin Xian's figure flashed, and he instantly dodged. However, a terrifying wave of seawater appeared in the sky again, completely sealing him. Boundless waves rolled in all directions of the world. It was as if a vast ocean was surging in the void. What immortal palace master! That's all he is. Seeing that he had trapped his opponent in an instant, the 5 elements Saint sneered in disdain. Buzz! A sword light shone, splitting the seawater in the sky, creating a vacuum. Then Lin Xian walked over. Seeing this, the 5 elements Saint was stunned. Then he sneered. Indeed, he had some strength. However, it was still not enough. Fist of fire. The 5 elements Saint pushed his fist forward, and a boundless sea of fire spread out, erupting with tens of thousands of rays of light. Sword of fire. On the other side, Lin Xian also performed the 5 elements sword technique. To be honest, he had just started cultivating the 5 elemental sword. In terms of the 5 elemental art, he was definitely inferior to the 5 elemental Saint. However, he possessed the great dragon sword soul. This was something that the 5 elements Saint did not possess. Therefore, Lin Xian was not afraid of him at all. In the sky, an incomparably pitch-black flaming longsword descended from the sky and slashed downwards. It collided with the terrifying flaming fist. Boom! Boom! An intense collision ensued. Flames overflowed into the sky and spread in all directions. The surrounding people were so shocked that they quickly retreated. Fortunately, Lin Xian and Lin Xian had controlled their strength, limiting the impact to a certain range. Otherwise, the entire world would be filled with boundless flames. "You can actually block my fist of fire." The 5 elements Saint frowned. In the next moment, he performed the fist of water again, wanting to destroy his opponent's sword of fire. However, Lin Xian also performed the sword of water to counter it. In an instant, the two of them were evenly matched, and it was difficult to tell who had the upper hand. D****. How is this possible? How can his 5 elements art be able to counter mine? The 5 elements Saint's face darkened. He was the saint of the 5 elements palace, and his 5 elements art was unparalleled. Yet his opponent was able to counter him. This surprised him greatly, and he could not believe it. Buzz! However, at this moment, a large palm stretched out from the sky. It carried a sky full of lightning, and it enveloped the flower protector. D****. Seeing this, Lin Xian's face immediately darkened. On the other side, the five elements saint also roared. Boom! The two of them attacked the lightning palm together. Boom! 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 There was an intense collision. Not only that, but the butterfly in the sky also flapped its wings. Suddenly, the flower protector on its body shook and made a tinkling sound. A formless and terrifying wave of energy rushed down. In an instant, it slammed into the lightning palm. The surrounding space shattered, and the lightning palm dimmed before disappearing. Lin Xian and the five elements saint exchanged 3 moves in the sky, and they each retreated to one side. Whoosh! Their eyes were cold as they stared at another place. There stood a young man in a thunderous robe. At this moment, his face was also dark. He did not expect his sneak attack to fail. The Thousand Thunder Saint. Lin Xian frowned. This was an old enemy. He had fought with him in the eastern wilderness. At that time, both of them were not almighties. However, the other party was already very powerful at that time. Now that he had broken through to the almighty realm, the other party had also broken through to the almighty realm. He had reached an unfathomable level. Needless to say, these saints' talents and resources were too terrifying. If ordinary people encountered Lin Xian's cultivation speed, they would have been left far behind. However, the Thousand Thunder Saint did not fall behind. Instead, he advanced side by side. One could imagine how terrifying his talent was. But so what? Lin Xian would not let him go if he dared to snatch the flower protector. Whoosh! He waved his long sword, and the golden sword flew out like a bolt of lightning toward the Thousand Thunder Saint. The Thousand Thunder Saint waved his hand, and endless lightning power condensed in front of him, forming a Thunder God shield in front of him. Clang! The Thunder God shield collided with the golden sword, making an earth-shattering sound. Terrifying sword chi and lightning rushed in all directions. It pierced through the void. In the next moment, the Thunder God shield was blasted away. The golden sword seemed to have turned into a golden dragon. It kept attacking, and the Thunder God shield kept retreating. In the end, it was directly sent flying. Whoosh! The golden sword slashed toward the Thousand Thunder Saint. Whoosh! The Thousand Thunder Saint disappeared instantly, and the golden sword only cut a trace of a shadow. However, as soon as the Thousand Thunder Saint dodged the golden sword, his face turned gloomy, because the Five Elements Saint had also attacked him. The flaming hand with endless holy light, like the palm of the fire god, fell from the sky and enveloped him. The Thousand Thunder Saint had no choice but to sweep out endless lightning to contend with it. In the next moment, he retreated again. He quickly said, "Brother Five Elements, I have no ill intentions toward you. Why don't the two of us take care of this kid first? Then we can fight for the flower protector. What do you think?" That was good too. The Five Elements Saint could see that the Thousand Thunder Saint seemed to have a grudge against the other party. In this way, it would be easy. The two saints could definitely suppress the other party easily if they joined forces. They could even kill the other party. Palace Master. Seeing the scene, Xing Tian and Elderly became worried. The dark, red, divine dragon's body even emitted crackling sounds. Come, come, come. This yellow dragon will teach you how to behave. Chapter 24-23. No need. Ruse along, you and Little White, hurry up and seal flower protector for me. Hearing Lin Xian's words, the Crimson Dragon's eyes lit up. That's right, he was proficient in formations. Coupled with Little White Monkey's treasure bowl, he could seal flower protector more easily than anyone else. Thinking of this, the two of them moved quickly. Xing Tian and Elderly did not make a move. They would not make a move unless their lives were in danger, unless Lin Xian gave the order. Now, Lin Xian had no intention of letting them make a move. so the two of them just watched the battle silently. Damn it, get down here. Seeing the crimson dragon and little white monkey flying towards Flower Protector above, the 5 elements saint roared, while the Thousand Thunder saint held a thunder sword in his hand and slashed out directly. Boom! Bang! However, both of their attacks were blocked. The ancient Dragon Abyss sword in Lin Xian's hand bloomed with a terrifying light. Your opponent is me. You're courting death. Get lost. The 5 elements saint and Thousand Thunder saint were really angry. The other party wanted to fight the two of them alone? What a joke! They were saints, the most powerful existence in the younger generation. How dare the other party look down on them? In the next moment, the 5 elements saint shouted, "Since you're courting death, I'll fulfill your wish." The Thousand Thunder saint also smiled. He found that now was the best time to kill the other party. Moreover, he did not think that Flower Protector would be sealed so easily. Sure enough, Flower Protector above launched a counterattack. The Crimson Dragon and Little White Monkey kept dodging. Seeing this scene, the Thousand Thunder saint was completely relieved. In the next moment, he stared at Lin Xian. "Today is the day you die." As he spoke, the power of thunder and lightning on his body directly pierced the sky. The terrifying thunder and lightning vibrated like a peerless thunder god, mighty and mighty in the cave. At this moment, the experts lurking around were stunned. In the distance, Yi Wu Dao, the Alcade Saint, and the others who were fighting also looked over. They did not expect that Lin Xian would want to fight the two of them alone. And it was against 2 saints. The surrounding experts started to discuss among themselves. This kid was too arrogant. Who did he think he was? That's right. Most likely, even the older generation wouldn't dare to be so arrogant as to oppose 2 saints. Just wait and see. He's definitely going to die. The sword in his hand was a peerless treasure sword. After he died, he would definitely snatch it back. These people had already begun to set their sights on Lin Xian. Lin Xian coldly snorted, and countless sword rays shot out in all directions. He held the Dragon Source ancient sword in his right hand, while a dragon-shaped sword shadow appeared in his left hand, emitting a terrifying aura. As soon as this sword shadow appeared, everyone's hearts jumped wildly, and they felt a chill run down their spines. Not good. This brat is going to use his trump card. Quickly subdue him. The 5 Element Saint and the 10,000 Thunder Saint looked at each other and quickly flew out. Humph! Lin Xian snorted coldly. The dragon-shaped sword in his left hand performed the 5 Elements sword art, while the ancient Dragon Abyss sword in his right hand performed the Chaotic Heaven Destroyer sword. The 2 Heaven tier sword arts, together with the peerless sword Qi, attacked. Boom! Boom! After an intense collision, 2 figures flew out. When the surrounding martial artists saw this, they went crazy and almost bit off their tongues. One by one, they exclaimed, "Damn it! This is impossible! How did he do it?" This was because they realized that the ones who flew out were the 5 Elements Saint and the 10,000 Thunder Saint. But how was this possible? The 2 saints were unable to defeat the other party? What a joke! This scene was simply too shocking. Even the 5 Element Saint and the 10,000 Thunder Saint were shocked. Although they did not use all their trump cards, it would be easy for the 2 of them to kill the other party. However, the situation had greatly exceeded their expectations. Damn it! There's something wrong with his sword. The 5 Elements Saint's face darkened. The 10,000 Thunder Saint gritted his teeth. Not only his sword, but the sword shadow in his left hand was even more terrifying. This should be his trump card. It must be, or else he wouldn't have been able to send us flying. The 5 Elements Saint sneered. This brat had used his trump card so early. It seemed like this brat was nothing special. Indeed, he was nothing special. As the saints of the sacred ground, our foundation was not something he could imagine. Let's do it. We must kill him this time. The 10,000 Thunder Saint stood up. He snorted, and the lightning on his body quickly erupted. A small blue hammer flew out from between his eyebrows. The small blue hammer spun in front of him, emitting a terrifying aura. It was full of lightning. Thunder God's hammer. The 10,000 Thunder sacred ground had a terrifying superpower. It was even more terrifying than an Earth-grade treasure. On the other side, the 5 Elements Saint opened his mouth and spat out the 5 Elements Mountain. This was also a terrifying trump card. The moment the 5 Elements Mountain appeared, the surrounding space instantly collapsed. Brat, I'll show you our ultimate move. The 10,000 Thunder Saint snorted and waved the Thunder God's hammer. Boom! 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 The entire cave was trembling. Terrifying lightning spread in all directions, causing the experts hiding in the dark to escape. There was nothing they could do. This aura was too terrifying. The Thunder God's hammer crushed the void and directly enveloped Lin Xian, trying to kill him. Lin Xian snorted. He waved the ancient Dragon Abyss sword and slashed at the Thunder God's hammer. Clang! A fierce collision sounded, and cracks spread in all directions. Clang! 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 The sound made everyone's blood boil. Some of the weaker ones even vomited blood. Not good. Retreat. Those martial artists who still wanted to take advantage of the situation frantically retreated. They realized that the battle between the two was too terrifying. Those who had not reached the level of a saint could not stay here. Therefore, more and more people retreated. Those who stayed here were all at the level of a saint. Among them, there were young saints and older experts. These people all had powerful auras like gods and demons. Damn it, he blocked it again. The 10,000 Thunder Saint was shocked. He did not expect that the other party could block his Thunder God's hammer. It was really beyond his expectations. However, at this time, the 5 Elements Saint also made his move. He activated the 5 Elements Mountain and pressed forward. The 5 Elements Mountain bloomed with light. It was like an ancient, demonic mountain descending from the sky. The sky was trembling, and terrifying air waves rolled in all directions. It was formed by the fusion of the 5 elements of metal: wood, water, fire, and earth. It was extremely terrifying. Whoosh! Whoosh! Lin Xian waved the dragon-shaped sword shadow and slashed out several beams of sword light toward the void. Crack! The void shattered. The dragon-shaped sword chi blasted onto the 5 Elements Mountain, causing a shocking collision. Boom! The 5 Elements Mountain was blasted away. There was even a terrifying sword mark on it. What? Seeing this, the 5 Elements Saint's pupils shrank. He could not believe it. The fact that the other party was able to damage his 5 Elements Mountain was simply too shocking for him. One had to know that it was an extremely terrifying Dharma treasure. Moreover, it was the combination of the 5 elements. Its power was extremely terrifying. The other saints did not dare to take it head-on. They were sent flying, so casually. Damn it! What was that sword shadow in his hand? Chapter 24:24. Damn it! What is that sword shadow in his hand? The people around them were going crazy. The 2 saints gritted their teeth, while Xingtian and elderly behind them were also extremely shocked. Originally, they were a little worried that Lin Xian would fight against 2 at the same time. After all, his opponents were famous saints from the sacred grounds. But now it seemed that they were overthinking. Lin Xian's combat strength really shocked them, especially that dragon-shaped sword shadow. Xingtian and Elder Li's hearts were beating wildly. It was too unbelievable. Their strength was extremely terrifying, and there were not many things that could make them feel afraid. They did not know what that sword shadow was, but thinking about it, it must be extremely terrifying. Ha 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 ha! I got it! At that moment, a strange laughter came from above. The Crimson Dragon was extremely excited. The sound attracted Xingtian and Elder Li's attention. Many of the others also looked over. Damn it! They were extremely shocked because they found that the flower protector on the butterfly had disappeared. I got it. Seeing that scene, Lin Xian was also delighted. He waved his hand and said coldly, "Let's go." Whoosh! He stopped fighting and turned to leave. The crimson dragon and the little white monkey returned to his side. Xingtian and Elder Li also moved together. Among them, Xingtian and Elder Li were surprised. Previously, they were only focused on watching the battle and did not look at the crimson dragon. They did not expect that the other party would seal the flower protector so quickly. Oh my God, that method is too terrifying. That's a legendary killing weapon. With a gentle shake, it can destroy the body and soul of an expert. Thinking of that, they were also very excited. They had just arrived at the saint's tomb, and they had already obtained a big treasure. They were really overjoyed. Therefore, they could not help but speed up. Damn it, stay! Behind them, the 5-element saint and 10,000 thunder saint were furious when they saw that scene. They had been fighting for a long time, but in the end the treasure was snatched away by the other party. How could they accept that? So they chased after it frantically. They were not the only ones. The experts from the 5-element sect and the 10,000 lightning Holy Land who had stayed behind also chased after them. The others were also shocked. They did not expect that the first to succeed would be Lin Xian. For a moment, many people looked over. When they saw that Lin Xian was about to leave, they all had different feelings. Brother Lin, well done. Leaf Daudenier. The Alcade Saint's eyes flickered, but he didn't say anything. The Twin Kings were so angry that they abandoned Leaf Daudenier and shot toward Lin Xian. The Death Scythe and the Celestial Treasure Wheel descended from the sky, bringing with them a monstrous aura. Get lost! Lin Xian roared and struck with both swords, shattering the heavens and earth. The Death Scythe and the Celestial Treasure Wheel were both sent flying. Lin Xian's qi and blood were also churning inside his body. However, he did not retreat. Instead, he charged forward. Damn it! Seeing this scene, the Central State's Twin Kings were furious. How could they allow the other party to leave? So they attacked again. Humph! Xingtian snorted coldly and attacked. His fist streaked across the void, and a bright light tore through the space. It was so bright that everyone could not open their eyes. Bang! Bang! The Twin Kings were forced back by the punch. Damn it! The Twin Kings roared angrily. They did not expect that there would be such an expert beside the other party. However, although they were angry, they did not attack again. On the other side, the experts from the other holy lands all attacked. Flower Protector was such a terrifying weapon that it was difficult to seal it. It would be difficult for them to succeed in a short period of time. They did not expect that the other party would succeed in sealing it. This was good. It would save them a lot of trouble. They naturally had to attack. For a moment, many people abandoned the Alcade Saint and rushed toward Lin Xian. Humph, kid, let's see how you escape. Seeing this scene, the Twin Kings sneered. Behind them, the 5-element saint and the 10,000 lightning saint were also overjoyed. As long as these people stopped the other party, then they could swarm him together. In short, they must not let the other party escape with Flower Protector. Humph! Courting death! Don't hold back! Attack! Lin Xian shouted coldly. The 2 seals on the Dragon Source Ancient sword were unlocked. In his left hand, the dragon traversing sword shadow burst out with incomparable light. Boom! Boom! In an instant, Lin Xian sent 2 people flying. The 2 of them spat out large mouthfuls of blood. One of them was split in half, and the other exploded. After receiving Lin Xian's order, Xingtian and Elder Li also made their move. The 2 of them were peerless experts. When they attacked, they were really terrifying. The remaining martial artists were terrified. They did not expect the other party to have so many experts. Moreover, they were so terrifying. They could not fight against them at all. Many of them spat out large mouthfuls of blood. Their bones were broken, and they crashed into the mountain in the distance. Bang! 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 The little white monkey appeared and disappeared mysteriously. In an instant, it knocked out a few experts who were close to it. The crimson dragon swung its dragon tail and sent those who were knocked out flying. Half of their faces were smashed. For a moment, no one could stop Lin Xian and the others. Seeing that they were about to enter the passage, the people from the Five Elements sect and the Myriad Thunder sacred land chased after them frantically. However, Lin Xian and the others had already entered the cave. The few of them attacked together, and the violent energy blasted the people behind them. This attack was too terrifying. The few experts were extremely terrifying. When they attacked together, the power was enough to make people tremble. Sure enough, the people from the Five Elements sect and the Myriad Thunder sacred land were scared out of their wits. Damn it! Get out of the way! The Myriad Thunder Saint Sun and the Five Elements Saint Sun roared crazily. They stopped in their tracks and fled to the back. At the same time, they formed a defensive barrier to resist the energy in front of them. Boom! It was earth-shattering. Countless cracks appeared in the space. The powerful energy blasted all of them away. The Five Elements Saint Sun and the Myriad Thunder Saint Sun felt their blood boiling. The other experts spat out mouthfuls of blood. Their faces were full of fear. Damn it, they managed to escape. They gritted their teeth, and their faces were extremely gloomy. Saint Sun, should we chase after them? An elder from the Five Elements Palace asked. The Five Elements, Saint Sun's face was gloomy. It was useless to chase after them. There were too many experts around them. What should we do? What else can we do? There are still two left. Let's fight with all our might. The Myriad Thunder Saint Sun also roared and led his people to join the battle. For a moment, a great battle broke out in the cave again. On the other side, Lin Xian and the others had completely left the cave. Seeing that no one was chasing after them, they heaved a sigh of relief. After all, they were all sacred lands and major sections. Although they were beaten back, they would be in danger if they fought back with all their might. Fortunately, the attack from before had intimidated them. Ruzelong, where is Flower Protector? Lin Xian stopped. He looked around and saw that there were not many people around, so he asked in a low voice. In the treasure bowl, the Crimson Dragon said. The little white monkey took out a small bowl. Sure enough, there was a bronze wind chime in it. Chapter 24-25. However, the wind chime was completely sealed. Lin Xian took the flower protector and placed it in the black earth. It was not suitable to use it yet. It seemed that it was the same as the sage's handbone. They could not bear it yet. However, it should be good as a trump card. What a great harvest! I've obtained a powerful weapon. Moreover, I've also obtained a lot of earth spirit liquid. Let's go and meet up with Yi Dao and Peacock. Lin Xian waved his hand, and they quickly flew forward. They were very fast and flew quickly in the tunnel. However, not long after, Lin Xian and the others frowned. That was because they heard the sounds of fighting and screams in front of them again. What's going on? What happened? Could it be another treasure? Lin Xian was puzzled. They guessed that it was another battle over a treasure. Let's go and speed up. Thinking of this, they were excited and flew quickly again. However, when they arrived, they frowned. Their pupils even constricted. That was because they realized that it was not the case. It was not what they had imagined. In front of them, the people from the various sacred grounds were attacking the insects that filled the sky. At that moment, in the cave in front of them, the ground and walls were covered with black insects. The small ones were the size of bowls, while the big ones were the size of basins. They were pitch black and had strange patterns on them. Crack! 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 The insect's teeth were very sharp and could even bite treasured sabers and swords into pieces. That was too shocking. One had to know that the treasures in the hands of these people were at least high-grade, earth-rank treasures, and many of them were even top-grade treasures. However, they were broken so easily. What kind of insects are these? Ah! A disciple of the Yunyan sect screamed. He was surrounded by countless insects, and the armor on his body was instantly shattered. Those insects began to gnaw on his flesh and blood. In the end, more than half of his body was rotten. He fell to the ground and twitched nonstop. Things like this are happening everywhere. Damn it! Get lost! A warrior from the Dayan sacred ground waved his giant sword and swept it in all directions. The insects were all sent flying, but soon they shook off the soil on their bodies and crawled over again. Damn it! How is that possible? How can they be fine? These people are crazy. Their attacks can even destroy the void. However, they were unable to kill the insects. They couldn't believe it. When Lin Xian and the others saw this scene, they gasped in shock. At first, they thought that it was a treasure, but now it seemed that it was going to be dangerous. Sure enough, when they arrived at the cave, the surrounding bugs also crazily rushed towards them. Humph! Xing Tian snorted coldly and swung his fist. Instantly, the surrounding black bugs were sent flying. However, his expression was ugly. This was because he realized that the bugs were actually fine. How could this be? His fists could easily kill mighty beings. Could it be that these bugs were even more terrifying than mighty beings? If that was the case, then what was the point of fighting? The sky was filled with insects. If they attacked together, all of them would probably be finished. Elder Li also waved his hand, and a huge palm of light instantly caught a few insects, wrapping them within. Then he pulled it in front of him and looked at it carefully. Lin Xian and the others all looked over. What? They discovered that the giant palm of spiritual power was completely useless. These insects were included in the palm, and they began to crazily gnaw at the large palms of spiritual power. Many wounds appeared on the palm, and then it dissipated. Chi! The bugs rushed out again. Damn! How is this possible? The Crimson Dragon was extremely shocked. What kind of bugs were these? Why hadn't he heard of them before? Could it be the gold-devouring bugs? He thought for a long time and thought of a name. Hearing this name, Xing Tian and Elder Li's eyelids twitched wildly. No way! That kind of thing had long been extinct. How could it appear here? Gold-devouring bugs, what were those? Lin Xian frowned and asked. He held up the dragon's sword domain and isolated the surroundings, forming a vacuum zone. It was a legendary bug that was now extinct. It was a very terrifying existence back then. Legend had it that the gold-devouring bugs devoured metal as food. There was nothing that they couldn't bite. Moreover, because they devoured metal, their bodies were also very hard and difficult to break. What you said is very similar to these bugs in front of us. It seems that they should be the gold-devouring bugs. No, that's not it. Elder Li quickly shook his head. The gold-devouring bugs were a disaster in ancient times. If there were such a large number of gold-devouring bugs, we would be finished. More importantly, even in ancient times, there weren't so many gold-devouring bugs, at most 5 or 6. They had never heard of such a large number of gold-devouring bugs. This ancient tomb was too strange. First, there were flower protectors, and now there were bugs similar to the gold-devouring bugs. What kind of saint's tomb was this? It was too terrifying. Xing Tian's expression was grave. Lin Xian took a deep breath. I saw Peacock and the others. Let's meet up first. Okay. Elder Li and the others walked forward. On the other side, the battle in the first cave was getting more and more intense. There were only 2 flower protectors left, so no one wanted to give up. The battle between Yi Wudao and the Middle State Twin Kings was terrifying. Both of them were peerless geniuses, and their methods were extremely terrifying. At this moment, the battle was difficult to distinguish. The surrounding people were shocked when they saw the scene. Heavens, Yi Wudao was too terrifying. It was obvious that he was fighting one against two, but he wasn't at a disadvantage. Of course, the might of a saint physique had been passed down since ancient times. Yi Wudao's future achievements were limitless. Once he matured into a greater success saint physique, he would be comparable to a great emperor. The Yi family was too lucky. They wouldn't have to worry about the next 10,000 years. With a greater success saint physique and an extreme weapon, unless a true great emperor appeared, no one would be able to compete with them. It was too early to say that. Let's wait until Yi Wudao matured. Someone sneered secretly. Hearing this, many people's scalps went numb. Did he want to die? How could he say such words? Was he not afraid of being killed by the Yi family? Sure enough, hearing such words, the Yi family's elders snorted coldly. Their eyes were like lightning as they swept across the surroundings. A terrifying aura surged out from their bodies. Many people were so frightened that their faces turned pale. Not to mention Yi Wudao, the twin kings were also terrifying. They would definitely be supreme existences in the future. It seemed that there was no doubt that they would become invincible kings. They might even reach the saint realm. Many people were discussing. On the other side, the Alcaides battle was also very terrifying. The 5-element saint and the 10,000 thunder saint joined hands, but they couldn't do anything to him. It was unbelievable. The Alcaide saint was too terrifying and unfathomable. It was said that no one could make him use his full strength. I think his strength should be beyond the average saint. He should be at the level of Yi Wudao and the Middle State Twin Kings. Chapter 24-26. Sure enough, the 5-element saint and the 10,000 thunder saint could not do anything. They were so angry that they had to use the power behind their backs. However, the wavering light sacred land was not weak either. Several elders joined the battle and fought. Roar! Suddenly, an angry roar came from afar. It was like a dragon's roar that shook the 9 heavens. Hearing that sound, the expressions of those who were fighting changed. Not good. There might be a change ahead. Stop fighting, Wudao. Hurry up. Got it. Yi Wudao nodded and waved his fists. His golden fists forced the middle ground twin kings back. You're not bad. You're my opponent. We'll fight again next time. Yi Wudao said in a deep voice. You want to leave? Not so fast. Go to hell. The twin kings roared. No one had been able to fight him to a draw, so he was very unwilling. However, Yi Wudao would not fight him again. Several elders of the Yi family stepped forward and forced the twin kings back. At the same time, they used all their strength to seal the flower protector above. In the end, the Yi family obtained the flower protector. Ah, damn it! The middle ground twin kings roared angrily. He had no choice. The Yi family was too powerful. He turned around to snatch the last flower protector. However, as soon as he flew into the air, he roared angrily. That was because the wavering light sacred land had obtained the last flower protector. The wavering light saint suppressed the 5-element saint and the 10,000 thunder saint. He directly used his wavering light divine ability and cooperated with their elders to seal the 3rd flower protector. Let's go. After that, the wavering light saint quickly left with his people. Behind them, the middle ground twin kings, the 5-element saint, and the 10,000 thunder saint were furious. They followed closely behind. Roar! At that moment, the dragon's roar came from the front again, causing everyone's expressions to change. Damn it! What was going on in front? Could there be a shocking treasure? Thinking of that, their eyes burned with passion, and they sped up. In front of them, the people of the Yi family and the wavering light sacred land were also flying quickly. However, when they arrived, they were stunned. The situation was completely different from what they had imagined. There was no treasure. and the sky was filled with insects crawling toward them. Bang! 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 Yi Wudao threw a punch, and a golden fist illuminated the surroundings, sending a group of insects flying. However, he frowned. Not dead. How could this be? The Yi family elders couldn't believe it. Leaf Daudenier had a saint body, and his battle prowess was unparalleled. He could shatter earth-tier treasures with his bare hands. But now he couldn't even destroy these bugs? It was simply too shocking. 1. On the other side, the people from the Wavering Light, Holy Land, were also attacked. A holy light ball was formed in front of the Alcade Saint, and the terrifying light rushed in all directions. The insects were sent flying, but they didn't shatter. This scene also made the people of the Wavering Light, Holy Land, frown. Behind them, the people from the 5 Elements sect, the 10,000 Thunder Holy Land, and other experts also rushed over. When they saw this scene, they gasped. When they realized that the worms were extremely hard and could even swallow their weapons, many people screamed. Damn it, it's the gold-devouring beetles. The eyelids of the 5 Element Saint and the others twitched when they heard about the gold-devouring beetles. They had naturally heard of the gold-devouring beetles' fearsomeness. Humph! Right at this time, an elder of the All Beginnings Holy Land coldly snorted. Don't speak nonsense. Those aren't gold-devouring beetles. It really wasn't the gold-devouring beetles. An old granny from the Jade Lake, Holy Land, also sighed. Yi Wudao and the others looked ahead. The people in front of them were radiating light. Among them, there's a group of people with draconic aura revolving around them, forming a roaring dragon. The terrifying sound from before had come from them. The imperial family of the Grand Xia, Nine Li, Tai Dynasty, and the others gathered together. Their draconic aura surged to the heavens, forming the aura of the Tao of Dragons that isolated them from the insects. Lin Xian and the others also met up with Hu Yi Dao and the others. Otherwise, they wouldn't have come so close to the Jade Lake Holy Land. Qing Cheng, if those aren't gold-devouring beetles, then what are they? Lin Xian asked. I don't know for now. Morong Qing shook her head. Big brother Xian, you weren't injured before, right? I'm fine. Lin Xian smiled. He had snatched a good treasure. Hearing this, the elders of the Jade Lake Holy Land frowned. Could it be that this brat had obtained a flower protector? As he spoke, Lin Xian waved the dragon's sword domain to expand it. Not only did it cover the people of the Immortal Palace, but it also covered the martial artists of the Jade Lake Holy Land. It was useless. The domain could be penetrated by them. A beauty from the Jade Lake Holy Land shook her head. They had also tried. So now they were using the Jade Lake's great magic treasure to support it. However, as soon as she finished speaking, she was stunned. Not only her, but many people from the Jade Lake Holy Land were also stunned. Heavens, why is nothing happening? Even the elders of the Jade Lake Sacred Ground were extremely shocked. Previously, they had also used their king domain to block these insects. However, these insects could destroy their king domain. They had no choice but to take out their magic treasures to temporarily block them. These magic treasures were all heaven-grade artifacts. In fact, Morong Qingqing even took out a heaven-grade artifact to block the insects. But now, the other party's king domain could block these insects. It was too unbelievable. For a moment, the elders of the Jade Lake Holy Land looked around. They were surprised to find that the sword qi was too fierce. It grew and multiplied endlessly, carrying an aura that could destroy everything. The surrounding black insects couldn't enter at all. What a terrifying sword qi! What kind of cultivation technique was this? They thought for a long time, but they couldn't figure it out. Boom! On the other side, the Yi family also took action. Yi Wudao opened his Golden Saint domain and isolated all the insects. Seeing this scene, many people exclaimed in surprise. Even the holy sons and holy daughters were envious. Legend had it that the Saint Physique's domain was extremely terrifying and unique. It could even restrain other people's domains. Now it seemed that it was indeed extraordinary. Damn insects, get lost from me! The twin kings also roared. Half of the demonic chi and the other half of the golden light formed a terrifying space that blasted all the insects away. In addition, the All Beginnings Holy Land, the Grand Xia dynasty, and the other Holy Land families all used their ultimate techniques to isolate these insects. Hurry up and leave. There shouldn't be any treasures here. Many people wanted to leave. Damn it, this is impossible. At this moment, an elder of the Wavering Light, Holy Land, cried out in alarm, his face full of shock. For a moment, everyone looked over. Even the Wavering Light, Holy Son, and Holy Daughter Yao Guang were puzzled. Elder, what's wrong? Did you discover something? The Wavering Light elder was shocked. These weren't insects. If they weren't insects, then what were they? The others frowned. Had the Wavering Light elder gone crazy? Even the Wavering Light, Holy Son, and Holy Daughter were puzzled. The Wavering Light elder took a deep breath and tried to calm himself down. However, his voice was still trembling. Chapter 24-27. The Yaoguang elder took a deep breath and tried to calm himself down. However, his voice was still trembling a little. He said in a trembling voice, "These bugs are made of metal." Metal? Hearing that, the crowd was even more confused. Why couldn't they understand? At this time, a young man from the Great Xia dynasty asked, "The metal-devouring bugs did eat metal. Could it be that they had also grown into metal?" "No, you don't understand what I mean. It wasn't an insect. It wasn't a living thing. It was a puppet mechanism. Someone had used metal to make it look like an insect." "What? How was that possible?" As soon as these words were spoken, everyone finally understood. However, they couldn't believe it. What kind of metal could be so terrifying? Moreover, these bugs were too terrifying. They had at least tens of thousands of years of history. Had they survived until now? They couldn't imagine what kind of means they had. "Elder, are you sure?" Even the Yaoguang saint was confused. "Saint, you forgot about my weapon." The elder sighed and waved his hand. Whoosh! He took out a small black flag. The flag was only the size of a palm, and its proportions were very strange. The flagpole was very long, but the flag was very small. It looked very uncoordinated. However, the aura it emitted made people's hearts tremble. A heaven-grade treasure. Everyone was shocked. That's right. Only a heaven-grade treasure could emit such terrifying power. That's my magic treasure. It's called the Heavenly Demon Flag. It's made of dark night, demonic gold, and other metals. Dark night, demonic gold? It's that kind of metal. Many people exclaimed when they heard that. Then they were extremely envious. Many people's eyes even turned red. That was because dark night, demonic gold was the main material for refining heaven-grade treasures. It was very precious and rare. Only the sacred grounds and the saint sects had it, and there weren't many of them. The treasures refined by the elder of the Yaoguang, sacred ground, were all out of proportion. There must be insufficient dark night, demonic gold. That's why they were in such strange shapes. One could imagine how precious the metal was. However, what did that have to do with the black bugs on the ground? Everyone frowned. The Jade Lake saint's eyes flickered. "Elder, are you saying that these bugs are made of dark night, demonic gold?" "Yes, that's what I mean." "What? How is that possible?" When these words were spoken, everyone went crazy. Their faces were full of fear and disbelief. Even Lin Xian and the others were extremely shocked. They all knew how terrifying and precious a Heaven Step artifact was. Moreover, it was a precious metal like the dark night, demonic gold. It could be said that there were very few of them. But now what was the situation? Were the black insects all over the mountain made of dark night, demonic gold? What a joke! When these bugs gathered together, they almost formed a small mountain. If this was true, wouldn't it mean that there was a small mountain of dark night magical gold in front of him? Thinking of this, everyone's eyes turned red, and their faces were filled with madness. They were too excited. This was a peerless treasure. If they could take it back and refine it, just how many heaven-step treasures could they refine? They did not dare to imagine. In an instant, many people went crazy. They looked at the black bugs on the ground again. This time it was not fear, but excitement. These were all treasures. Elder, are you sure? The Alcade Holy Son still did not quite believe it, but the elder sighed. It was absolutely true. The people of the Yi family also frowned. No wonder it was so hard. Even the Holy Son's body could not be broken. That was because it was a heaven-step material. Who could break a heaven-step treasure? When those words came out, everyone fell silent. That was right. If that was the case, what happened before could be explained. Then they screamed, "Oh my God, who is that? How could they make so many bugs with dark night, demonic gold? What a waste!" The elders screamed crazily, "What a prodigal!" Indeed, they did not even have enough materials to make weapons. Now, someone was wasting so much precious metal to make bugs. If that was not a prodigal, then what was? Could it be the work of that sage? They thought for a while and found that only the owner of the ancient tomb, a sage from tens of thousands of years ago, could have done that. The others were not worthy of his attention at all. I really want to know who that sage is. Many people were puzzled. However, many elders were even more shocked by the crafting technique. That technique was too heaven-defying. It could exist for tens of thousands of years. If they could get that technique and make other puppets in the city, wouldn't that be heaven-defying? However, most people did not think about that at all. Their eyes were red as they stared at the bugs on the ground. "Hurry up and grab it!" Someone shouted, and those people immediately started to grab it frantically. For a moment, many people started to fight for it again. The intensity of the fight was no less than that of the earth spirit liquid. "Temple Master, what should we do?" The eyes of Elder Li and the others also flickered. They were also very tempted by the dark night demonic gold. Lin Xian took a deep breath. "Don't be anxious. Let's wait and see first. There's so many bugs here anyway. Besides, I have a feeling that things are not that simple." Not only did they not move, but the people of the Jade Lake sacred ground also did not move. In the distance, the warriors of the Yi family were also discussing. The others were fighting fiercely. While they were frantically fighting for the dark night demonic gold, another group of people walked into the first cave. Those people were Yen Ryu's people. At this moment, they also arrived at the cave. When they saw the corpses and blood on the ground, they frowned. "Humph! Those humans are really greedy. A war broke out so soon?" The warriors of the Demon King Palace sneered. However, an elder frowned. "Don't be careless. Those humans are smart. They won't fight without precious treasures. Look around and see what's around." As soon as he said that, they looked around, because at this moment there was no one around. "This is Earth Spirit Liquid," a warrior of the Demon King Palace exclaimed. "Damn it, they've snatched it all." The people of the Demon King Palace gritted their teeth. The Earth Spirit Liquid that had existed for tens of thousands of years was definitely a treasure. No wonder those human warriors fought fiercely. The Earth Spirit Liquid dripped from above. Let's see if there's any above. A few people grew wings on their backs and flew up. Soon, they broke off all the rocks above. Because there was some Earth Spirit Liquid on them, they would not let it go. Some people even dug out the puddles on the ground and carefully collected them. Yen Ryu did not care at all. She looked around and narrowed her eyes. The man in a green robe and Hua Tindu also looked around. It's not right to fight like this just for the Earth Spirit Liquid. Chapter 24-28. The remaining aura in the air was too powerful. At the very least, a top-notch sky pride had made a move. Something like the earth spirit liquid probably wouldn't cause these top-notch sky prides to make a move. There should be something else. By you, Huatindu shouted in a deep voice. Here, a young man in a white robe walked out from behind him. His white hair fluttered in the wind, and he was very handsome. He came to the front and quickly formed a seal with his palms. At the same time, his eyes also changed incomparably. His black pupils disappeared, and his entire eyeballs turned pale as if they were in chaos. Seeing this scene, the others waited silently. After a while, Bayou's white eyes disappeared, and he returned to normal. He took a deep breath, waved his hand, and described what he saw. The spiritual energy in the sky condensed and formed images. This was what happened before. This was the Yi family's sacred body, right? He actually made a move. What exactly was that? When the crowd saw the golden light shoot into the sky, they were all shocked. Everyone knew about the Yi family's sacred body. Everyone knew the potential and terror of a sacred body. They had to pay attention. This was the Alcade Saint, right? He was indeed powerful. His strength was probably not inferior to a sacred body. Several elders looked at the figure surrounded by 108 gods and Buddhas with solemn expressions. Who was this kid? He was so terrifying. He could actually suppress the 5-element saint and the 1,000 thunder saint. Many people looked at the red-robed young man and frowned. One of the elders said, "There seems to be something wrong with the 2 swords in his hands. He's not a saint of the sacred ground. I don't know him." Huatindu looked at the figure and shook his head slightly. The corners of Yen Ruyu's mouth curled up into a beautiful smile. However, when she shifted her gaze and looked up, her pupils shrank. This was... She pointed forward, puzzled. Everyone's gaze also shifted away from the saints and looked up. They realized that there were 3 butterflies. There were bronze bells tied to their bodies in an octagonal shape with mysterious and strange runes engraved on them. What was that? Huatindu also frowned. An elder of the Demon King Palace exclaimed, "Flower Protector! Damn it, it was Flower Protector. Are you talking about the legendary weapon, Flower Protector? Why would she appear here?" Huatindu was shocked. Even Yen Ruyu was surprised. The others were also discussing, spiritedly. Naturally, they had heard of the legend of Flower Protector. Wasn't this a weapon refined by a peerless devil of the human race? Why would it appear in our demon sage's tomb? Could it be that our demon saint obtained it? They could not understand. Even a weapon like the Flower Protector had appeared. It seemed that this place was more complicated than we had imagined. An elder frowned. Another person asked, could they deduce which demonic saint it was? Yenryu and the others shook their heads. They could not tell yet. Everyone looked around again. Then Huatian said, "Let's go and take a look. It seems like this ancient tomb is more interesting than we thought. Looks like I can't fall too far behind. Otherwise, all the good stuff will be snatched away by those people." The other elders nodded their heads as well, and the group of them prepared to move forward. However, at this time, Yenryu suddenly frowned. In the next moment, she turned her head. "What's wrong? What happened?" Huatindu was puzzled. The others also turned their heads, wanting to ask. However, at this moment, a crisp sound came from above. Everyone felt dizzy, as if they had felt a strong impact. Ah! Many young warriors screamed. The elders of the Demon Imperial Palace all shouted angrily, "Damn it, who is it?" Yenryu's gaze was like a divine rainbow streaking across the void. Flower Protector. There was another Flower Protector here. There was actually another one. The others were shocked, but Huatindu was wild with joy. "Great, we must get it. Attack!" With an order, the elders all attacked. However, in the next moment, they were pushed back by a strong energy. The blood in these elders' bodies was boiling, and their faces were full of shock. What a terrifying flower protector! Why did it feel like the power of the last one was much stronger than the previous ones? Indeed, when they looked at the screen, they found that although the flower protector was strong, it was not too difficult for those people to collect it. However, when it came to them, why was it so terrifying? So many elders attacked together, but they were all pushed back. It was unbelievable. He didn't know. Perhaps the 3 flower protectors from before had been sealed. Perhaps the seal of this one was weaker, so the power it displayed was greater. Yen Ruiyu's eyes flickered. Of course, this was all speculation. Clang! Clang! Just as they were discussing, a butterfly flew out from the cave above. There was a bronze bell tied to its body, and it made a clanging sound in the air. Every time it vibrated, a sound wave would sweep in all directions. The space was shattering all day, as if a giant hammer was smashing into the void. Quick, defend! All of you retreat! The elders shouted angrily. They unleashed countless defensive spells in front of them to block the attack. Hua! Tiandu roared, and a terrifying aura was emitted from his body. A layer of purple scales even appeared on his body. In the next moment, he stretched out a large purple hand and grabbed at the void. This large purple hand was very terrifying, and there were also rare scales on it. It carried a shocking power and directly enveloped Flower Protector. Boom, boom, boom. Flower Protector quickly attacked, and light waves blasted on the large purple hand. The strong wind was mighty, and the terrifying power made it hard for people to breathe. Damn it! In the end, Tiandu could not hold on and retracted the large purple hand. His face was extremely gloomy. Humph! He snorted coldly and wanted to use his trump card. However, at this moment, Yen Ruiyu made her move. She stretched out her slender hand and slapped forward. This palm was extremely white, as if it was carved out of immortal jade and appeared in the sky. Around his palm, 9 mysterious runes appeared, exuding an unfathomable power. Seal! Yen Ruiyu chuckled, and the 9 runes rotated, completely enveloping Flower Protector. Buzz! Flower Protector trembled, and a terrifying light tore through the void, shattering the surrounding space. In the sky, the 9 mysterious runes dimmed, and it seemed like they were about to shatter. Seeing this, Yen Ruiyu snorted coldly and spat out a green light from her mouth, which instantly shot into the sky. This light was too fast, and no one could see what it was. It was like a divine rainbow, and it directly pressed on Flower Protector, causing Flower Protector to stop trembling immediately. Whoosh! The 9 runes flickered and entered Flower Protector, completely sealing it. Whoosh! The green light turned and returned to Yen Ruiyu's body. The whole process was very fast, and the surrounding people did not even know what it was. However, in the next moment, their eyes widened. Yen Ruiyu gently waved her hand, and Flower Protector floated over and landed in her hand. Chapter 24-29. Yen Ruiyu gently waved her hand, and Flower Protector floated over and landed in her hand. The corners of her mouth curled up slightly as she shook it gently. The tinkling sounds were heard, bringing with it a terrifying feeling. However, at this moment it had already been sealed and could not hurt anyone. The elders of the Demon Imperial Palace were all stunned. Those young martial artists also had faces full of shock. Hua! Tiandu narrowed his eyes and laughed loudly. Ruiyu, good move! Yen Ruiyu smiled and took out a red rope from her storage ring. She tied Flower Protector and hung it on her waist. Let's go. After subduing Flower Protector, Yen Ruiyu was in a good mood, so she walked forward with graceful steps. Behind her, the people of the Demon Imperial Palace quickly followed. They set off forward. On the other side, in the cave ahead, Everyone had their eyes on the black bugs, because they now knew that the black bugs were made of heaven-grade treasures, dark night, demonic gold. It was an incomparably precious metal. Therefore, for a moment, these people attacked crazily, but soon they regretted it, because they realized that these bugs could not be subdued at all. Ordinary earth-grade treasures could not cause any damage to them. At most, they would be sent flying. However, the worms waddled back. "Collect!" An elder of the Illusion Palace roared angrily. He threw out a purple gourd and collected the bugs around him. The purple gourd flickered and instantly collected dozens of black bugs. Ha 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 ha! Seeing this scene, the elder was very happy. He waved his hand and took back the purple gourd. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. He shook the gourd and wanted to continue collecting. Crack, crack, crack. Suddenly, the gourd in his hand made a cracking sound. Then, the entire gourd split into two. The dozens of black bugs crawled out again. Damn it! How could this be? The elder of the Illusion Palace was so angry that he went crazy. He fiercely bombarded the black bugs. However, his hands were numb. These bugs could not be harmed at all because they were not living creatures at all. They were puppets. They could not feel anything, let alone feel any pain. Humph, watch me. An elder of the 5 Elements Palace waved his hand, and a 5-colored net fell from the sky, instantly trapping dozens of black bugs. This was the 5 Elements net. It was formed from the 5 elements of metal: wood, water, fire, and earth. It had been refined by the elders of the 5 Elements Palace for hundreds of years. It could be said that it was extremely terrifying. In an instant, he also caught dozens of black bugs and took them back. The 5 Elements net released light, releasing the power of the 5 elements, wrapping around these black bugs, wanting to seal them. As long as he could bring it back to the 5 Elements Palace, he would be able to refine it into dark night demonic gold. Then he would be able to create a new heaven-tier treasure. Thinking of this, the people from the 5 Elements Palace all laughed. Not long after they laughed, they were also stunned. This was because cracks had appeared on the 5 Elements net. Dozens of black bugs had bitten through the 5 Elements net and escaped again. Damn it! It could even bite through the power of the 5 elements. The elders of the 5 Elements Palace widened their eyes in disbelief. The others also sucked in a breath of cold air. It seemed that this black bug was really not easy to seal. Was there really no other way? Pum, pum, pum. Just as everyone was discussing and trying all kinds of methods, one side suddenly trembled. Then a black shadow walked out in front of them. The black shadow was not tall. It was only about 1 meter tall, but it was abnormally heavy. Every step it took made the ground tremble. What was that? Could it be that another monster had appeared? Everyone stopped what they were doing and looked forward. What? They were extremely shocked, and many people's eyes almost popped out of their sockets. They saw a terrifying thing walking out in front of them. It was extremely black, like a tortoise, but it walked upright. There was a black tortoise shell on its back, which was full of needles. There was also a black tail behind it, which was also full of black needles. What was that? A tortoise? Everyone was surprised. No, look at its head. Why did it look like a flood dragon? A dragon tortoise. Everyone was talking about it. At this moment, the elders exclaimed in surprise, "Heavens, is that guy also made of dark night, demonic gold?" Thinking of that, everyone swallowed their saliva. The amount of dark night, demonic gold that the black dragon tortoise contained was comparable to that of all the other insects. For a moment, many people looked at it with bloodshot eyes. What was the point of snatching so many insects? They would be rich if they could just snatch the black dragon tortoise away. They acted as soon as they thought of it. Among them, many elders from the sacred grounds and major sects quickly made their moves. One after another, terrifying attacks were launched forward. In an instant, they landed on the black dragon tortoise. Boom! 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 the black dragon tortoise was forced to retreat. When the light that filled the sky disappeared, everyone was dumbfounded. That was because the black dragon tortoise was not injured at all. In fact, there was not even a crack on it. Roar! The black dragon tortoise roared angrily, and a trace of red light appeared in its eyes. Oh no, it's going to counterattack. Everyone was shocked. Sure enough, following the roar, the dragon tortoise emitted a dangerous aura. Not only that, but the surrounding black insects also began to move. They quickly attacked in all directions. For a moment, everyone screamed and kept retreating. Buzz! Boom! The elder of the 5 elements palace screamed and was sent flying. He crashed into the wall and vomited blood. Even the void was smashed into pieces. Damn it, what happened? The people of the 5 elements palace exclaimed, and the others also looked gloomy. They only saw a black shadow flash, and the elder of the 5 elements palace was sent flying. Boom! It was at this moment that the elder of Illusion Destroyer Palace also let out a scream and was sent flying. God knows how many bones in his body were broken. Damn it, it's that dragon tortoise. It attacked. This time, everyone finally saw it clearly. The black dragon tortoise leaped high, and its body spun in the air like a spinning top as it charged over. This collision contained boundless power. Moreover, there were many black thorns on the dragon tortoise's body, which multiplied the power of the collision. Watch me. The 4 symbols saint roared angrily, and his body emitted an incomparable light that made the entire world tremble. What a terrifying power! Everyone was shocked. The 4 symbols saint was too terrifying. For a moment, they all retreated, but their eyes were fixed in front of them. Boom! The 4 symbols saint reached out a palm and grabbed in front of him. Boom! 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 The black dragon tortoise resisted and broke free from the 4 symbols saint's palm. It then turned into a black light and charged over. Its speed was too fast. Everyone could only see a shadow and feel the surging power. In the next moment, the sound of an intense collision was heard. The black dragon tortoise and the 4 symbols saint collided more than 10 times in a row. The 4 symbols saint kept retreating, shattering the void. You're tuning in to the Thunder Spear YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.